to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go.
Won't you pull up a seat? Everybody got a prize round here to play. Make me an offer, what will it be? Oh, what will it be? Welcome to the playground, follow me. Tell me your nightmares and fantasies. Sink into the wasteland underneath. Stay for the night, I'll sell you a dream. Welcome to the Welcome to the Welcome to the playground. Welcome to the playground. Welcome to the playground. Follow me. Tell me your nightmares and fantasies. Sink into the wasteland underneath. Stay for the night, I'll sell you a dream.
You walk along the edge of danger, and it will change you. Why would you let this voice set in your head? It is meant to destroy you. You summon storms, you play with nature. Now watch it hurt you. Why would you want to shake the world in your hands? You will never make it through. Catch the fire burning out your soul. Just make it die, or you will turn it all to ashes and blood. To ashes and blood. You waste your life to gain power. You shift to gain rules. How does it feel to reach the line that no one ever got to cross? Does it make you a god now? Every sin will be forgiven if you lay down your weapons to the ground. ashes and blood. To ashes and blood. To ashes and blood. To ashes and blood. To ashes and blood.
Hey, what? Hey, look up at the sky, it's just a starting line. Waltzing through the storm, feel the vibe align. Radiant rebels in the silent fray. In the pulse of dawn, we embrace the day. We find harmony in mayhem, finding our own beat. Eyes ablaze with laser focus. Dancing through the storm, we become the light. Against all odds, we'll celebrate in this never-ending fray. As alive in the pulse of dawn, we find our hearts dancing time. You're one of a kind. Stars shining with us. Your fire is contagious. I feel the moon on our skin. Love glows out, love streams in. Your eyes shining through me. Light the way so that we can see. I feel the warmth of my love. Shine on and feel your eyes. Even when I'm gone, let's circle from near and far above the flower bed as we watch the stars. It will never be apart.
Tell me sweet 何をしてても daydreaming yeah 君の言葉繰り返し寝ても覚めてもやまないそけない君の笑顔が恋しくて星に願うのまた会えるよね
Wait, is he switching lanes?
Approaching the final pick, and what a ride it's been.
A moment of hesitation, but we're getting closer to the game changer, and what a legendary journey we've been on.
I mean, there's so many excellent options, but one of them has to be a perfect
They're about
fit.
to lock in.
Oh, what a pick!
What a way to close things out.
Join Marriott Bonvoy for a chance to claim a free Hextech chest and key. Marriott Bonvoy, a check-in at every checkpoint.
Red Bull gives you wings.
No, on to 5! What an ulti!
What an incredible play there from...
Oh, that was incredible! You love to see it.
Right, yeah, let's really
What
get into
a move! He's just so good. I mean, the persistence, the patience to find the angle. You just don't see that from rookies. He's got it all. He's got the bad.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Ooh, that looks good. Do you want to maybe share a little bit? Yeah.
What a move!
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
If you had it all, would you look the fall in the eyes? Could you walk away this time? Will you realize, recognize it's never over? And the flame that once had died
Okay, guys, got a couple of questions here. You have the chance to actually collaborate and do something together and come up with the answers and pretend that you're smart. They are related to Uzi. And you guys have one whiteboard, so you can like share and rub together your 2 brain cells and come up with the answers. First question. How old was Uzi in the 2013 World Finals?
I think he was 17.
What? No, I'm gonna say 18.
Okay, you guys have to agree on an answer like pretty
Rock, paper,
fast.
scissors or which one?
Okay, rock, paper, scissors.
But-
Okay, still sucks. Pause.
Okay.
So,
18.
16.
You know that?
yay, that's correct. Nice. Let's go to the next question.
But then he gassed me.
You were wrong. Anyway.
I was gonna say 16.
Next question. How many career kills does Uzi have on Vayne?
82.
82? Are you kidding me? He's kind of got. I was thinking 1,000.
A thou?
1,000 is way too much. But it's.
Okay,
I'm saying 500.
500
400 then.
How many games of Vayne do you play?
Okay,
Holy.
let's do this.
How many games? Okay, it's fine.
270 over 50 games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, he played 88 Vayne games
88. Okay.
and got
Okay.
397 kills.
Okay, he played 57 Vayne games and he got 371 Vayne kills.
That's so
Wait,
cool.
That is
close.
really close, I know. How many pentakills did he have during his career?
7 pentakills.
And she's smiling. She revealed it.
Put 7.
Final answer.
Yes, it was 7. That is insane.
9.
7. You said 9.
No, it's a mad. It's like.
Ah, I thought you were excited.
That
I
was
was
a
like,
frustration gesture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which teammate was on his side most often?
Was it Xiaohu or was it the top laner?
No, it must be Xiaohu. Because in 2018 he also played like Xiaohu was a mid laner for RNG, right? Do you remember 2018?
I don't remember even last week.
With Xiaohu.
Of his career, he didn't have CC tie, did he?
Guys, I'm falling asleep. Come on.
Ming.
Shower.
But it was so low-hanging fruit!
Yay. You guys got another one right. How many different champions did he play during his career?
Maybe like 20. Is 20 a good number? Bro, how am I supposed to know that?
You said this was your area of
He played
expertise.
Vayne, he played Kai'Si.
Ah, here we go.
Xayah. Twitch, Corki, Xayah,
Oh,
Tristana, Kai'Sa, Vayne.
He played Urgot. I know he played Urgot because Urgot was an AD carry back then. He had one Urgot game.
Wow. You're so helpful.
Yes.
And there's for sure he played some random champ, like in the 20. 26? Yeah? I'm happy with 26.
It's 34. What's his most played champion?
Kai'Sa.
Kai'Sa? Let me think. I think it's Kai'Sa.
You think it's Kai'Sa?
He played a lot of Kai'Sa.
Kai'Sa.
Wrong, Ezreal. So what was his record against Faker?
13 wins, 26 losses.
Let's say
14 losses.
7 wins, 14 losses.
3 wins, 11 losses. Last question. Against which LEC or EU players did he play the most?
Probably Caps. Reckless. Yeah, it's Caps.
It actually was Broxa and Reckless.
What? There's no way it's Broxan Reckless. Against Faker. Oh, against Uzi.
Against Uzi.
Oh my god.
Yes, you were counting Faker? Okay.
No, actually with those answers, you guys lost.
Sucks.
That's really... I'm gonna start crying. Turn off the cameras.
Turn off the cameras right now.
Ain't no way, we got a team of analysts finally winning against players Finn. Congratulations. Okay, so actually we wanted to give you a sneak peek of what happens
Man, I wanna do that!
before the broadcast, before you see the casters going on air. This is actually what they do. This is actually how they warm up and get ready for the action, especially given the stakes that we have for the games today. I'm gonna let this weirdness fly by. Hopefully the audience can recover on this. Finn, congrats on winning the game.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Spectre held me back quite a lot in that segment, so that's why he's now getting Kane ulted by Dagda. Justifiably so. If I didn't have Jack there, I'd probably get all 7 questions right.
Oh, I'm sure you would,
But
buddy.
in the end, I'm quite happy that we beat the players
The usual,
once.
blaming the teammate. Odoamne, welcome back. No, welcome back to me, actually. I'm the one being back. You were
Hello,
here
Laura,
yesterday.
welcome back.
Hi. I want to talk about the action, actually, because looking at the game we have today, banger on the menu, but also something that we've seen before, because these teams, here is where they are right now. KC is going to go up against Fnatic today in the hope of facing off against MKOI next week. That is actually what happened in Winter, guys.
I mean, to me, in winter, the most memorable best of 5 was between these two teams. I
Yeah.
think that Fnatic KC best of 5 going to 5 games, a lot of good moments there, a lot of drafts. That I
Yeah,
think
a lot of
about.
games.
Exactly, and it did set the stage for also how a preview of this spring, because I feel like these teams still kind of have a little bit of the same identity, but at the same time, walking into that best of 5, it was Fnatic who was the big favorite. But today, I feel like we're getting a reverse where KC is the top dog and the team to beat.
And I'm actually wondering what these teams are going to bring to the table, considering the fact that going through the lower bracket, you have to play more games, you have to come in ready. We saw Fnatic playing 2 days ago. KC was playing yesterday. How hard is it, guys, because you've been in these situations, right, to prep for multiple opponents with so little time to get ready for it?
I mean, I think right now Fnatic has the advantage, right? Because KC are just going back-to-back games.
Yeah.
So Fnatic did have 1 extra day of practice, but in reality, you can't really get that much from just 1 day of practice. So it's going to be very tough for both, because a lot of the cards are already laid out on the table.
Exactly. I would say that usually the team that gets back-to-back games is the one who has an advantage. But given that Fnatic already played before, they already got their share of the games this week, having a day off and being able to study still gives you a little bit of advantage. Even though it is fearless, you don't really get a lot of draft information and stuff like that. But you do get to see games being fresh in front of you.
Yeah, and on the other side, you get more stage experience. You get to play those games on stage. So maybe that can play in their favor as well?
I mean, I would think so. I mean, I think these teams have played a lot of stage games already in their career. And I think because it's in the studio, I think they're just really getting back into that rhythm and just going back onto stage with confidence. And I really wonder if Fnatic use their day to relax or if they just practice super hard to get ready for this game.
I think we would find out very soon. But before that, we have an interview of Ginny sitting by with Rhea in the Marriott Bonvoy pregame chicken.
Thank you, Laure. I'm joined here with Reha from KC. Ahead of your game against Fnatic, we've seen this one in the lower bracket before in winter. It went in your favor. How confident are we feeling today?
Very confident. I think we're going to be very confident for the rest of the season. We know today is a very, very good opponent. We know we need to be playing our best game to win today. But yeah, the confidence is very high, and then we know we have to come up on the rift and put up a fight against them.
Absolutely. And it's something that Yag touched upon as well a little bit in the interview yesterday, where he mentioned that you guys have found the confidence again, but there also has been maybe a little bit of miscommunication and the team isn't necessarily on the same page. How are you able to fix that from last week into yesterday into today?
Yeah, I think, I mean, the two things, right? I think there's mistakes that only happen on stage. So we talked about most of them, and then there will be mistakes that will be happening no matter what, It's not like we can play perfect every time. But I think yesterday our Dragon Control was good. It could be better, but that's the most important thing, I think, is we need to be focused going into the next games. And for today, most important is not the amount of mistakes we do. It's being able to clutch out the team fights, clutch out the early games against this team, and be confident in that way. Yep.
And something we've also seen from you guys is just being really good at adapting in the middle of series. For example, like yesterday, game 1 was really good, game 2, not so much. You bounce back in game 3. What do you say to the players for them to actually lock in again? Because we know they got it. It's just a matter of showing it.
Yeah. Are you flaming my draft?
No.
I think now it's been an ongoing process for a long time with the players that have been in the club for so long, Kales, Vladi, Targa, and obviously Yike fits in really very well with Kana because they know that, okay, we just need to forget about the previous game, especially with Fearless, and make sure that we are focused for the next one. And I think that's what we've been doing correctly. I would say that against Koi, what was different is I think we just they were drafting well against us. I think they had a very good plan against us, and I think they also prepared what we were going to do against them. Especially, I think Jojo was not making the mistakes that he would have been doing. So, most important is stay focused on our craft, our team, what we need to be achieving, and as long as we do that and we're confident that we're able to execute, we're gonna have the shots to take the win.
Okay, very quick final question, and that is: you only had 1 day to prepare for this. Does that make it a little bit more difficult?
Kinda, I think, yeah, a little bit, because we might be a bit tired, but I'm not sure. But to be honest, we've been preparing for Fnatic the whole week, so okay. I think we know what can happen, and they know what we can do. So it'll be very interesting to see, how the draft comes and how the gameplay comes. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Merci beaucoup. Bonne chance à vous.
Merci.
And Laure, take it away.
Thank you so much, Ginny. Ria saying that they are ready for Fnatic. They were born ready for Fnatic, but also déjà vu of a matchup that we saw last split. This is the state of things. This was the state of things that we had between these two teams last split. Guys, my question is, how did things change, and did they?
Well, some things have changed a little bit, and others we're getting a little bit more familiar with. So, for instance, one of the things which I should immediately point out and say...
We have
necessarily...
Casey on this side, by the way, and Fnatic on the other one. Just context. Yeah, there you go. You can point with it.
Yeah, and I think this one here is actually something which I don't think has necessarily changed yet. Now, we might see that. So the draft in the game 4, I think that was against G2 in the upper bracket. That was very difficult for Casey at that point, and I believe this was the game 5 that we saw between MKOI and Casey on the bottom of screens now. They've still had this last game in a series where they haven't necessarily managed to pull out that golden draft in the last game, and that could be a problem still. They need to fix their drafts in the high-pressure scenarios.
Yeah, exactly, because it's been this trend where Casey has been dropping the ball in game 4 and 5, but I do want to take a look at some of the other points. For example, should they have enabled Kana more and the lack of systems on the side of Fnatic? Because these are things that I feel like the teams have started doing a lot better with Fnatic getting...
Duffman.
Duffman, correct. That's exactly who I wanted to talk about. Duffman, and for Kana as well, because our main criticism before was Kana that he wasn't empowered well. But right now, when I look at KC and also at Fnatic, I look at Kana and I look at Upset, and I feel like they're the main guys who are getting empowered heavily in this split, and they're pumping out, great results.
Which is interesting because they were respectively first MVP and second contestant to be MVP this split, with Kana being the second one here. Are they the players we want to look at here? Are they going to be the keys to victory for their team?
Yeah, absolutely. From the games that we've seen in playoffs so far, it's no surprise that the two front runners in MVP, which are on everyone's list really, are core to the styles. Upset, winning the 2v2 with Mickey, becoming a huge power in the team fights, has been unstoppable for Fnatic when he gets ahead. And Kana, if he gets something like the Ambassador, a winning matchup, he's similar for KC.
Exactly, and personally, I don't really care between these two teams who got the MVP over the other one. I really care that this showcases pretty much how important they have been to their teams. And it's not really the individual performance, but it's the consistency. I feel like every single game we look at Fnatic and we look at KC, we always have two stars that are always performing very, very well, that when the team is struggling, they pump out, pretty much the same performance, and it's Kana and Upset.
And I love how they're on opposite sides of the map and they unlock each other's teams. So we could have an arms race, top lane versus bot lane, both of them enabling both these teams to play comfortably, and hopefully that means we get a banger series.
And even Kalist yesterday was praising Upset for pretty much the standout player than he is, saying that of course he's going to be a respected opponent, of course he's a really good ADC. I'm really looking forward to seeing these two and how they're going to play in the bot lane. Kalist was also mentioning yesterday that for KC right now, so far in playoffs, they're still looking for this missing piece. Erkut, what do you think he's talking about here?
When I think about it, it feels like he's probably not content with the game just being so slow and played so much around neutral objectives, and he feels like maybe the KC of old in Winter had a little bit more of an X factor when it comes to finding skirmishes, finding leads, when it comes to before these Dragon situations where you get to set up the map, find picks, make the game a little bit easier and not rely so much on these team fights.
So now I'm really interested to see, it's a new patch, we've been playing games on it, how quickly can they figure out that magic dust on the patch and see if they can get through what is a very important series for both
One
teams.
single and final question. Have we seen enough from both teams yesterday and 2 days before to know who is going to be a clear winner today? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Definitely not.
Oh, it's so
definitely
no
not.
idea.
I mean, we want banger games. We want 5 games, and we want them to fight for it. No more mistakes allowed. No more players fumbles. Both teams have 5 games to prove that they deserve to face against MKOI next week. You fight for a ticket to MSI, or you book a ticket home. It's Fnatic versus KC, and it's starting right now.
Well said, Lore. Welcome everyone to the arena as we're moments away now from getting into the game. The players will start their walkouts. I'm Dracos, joined by Jack, Spectra, and Dagda to bring you this thrilling best of 5. 4 teams left in the LEC, but in just a few hours, it'll only be 3.
It feels like this is the beginning of the final stages of the LEC where every team can actually compete. And there's no blowout games anymore. I'm so hyped for this matchup. I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, especially since this is our top 4 coming in from the regular split now left remaining, but it remains to be seen who will be going home. A very happy lad today, because I will say, I don't think a lot of people expected it to be Fnatic versus KC coming into this 4th place match.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it's kind of sad even that one of these 2 teams will already be heading home.
Yeah.
I thought this could be a potential final, but one of them have to eliminate the other. And I hope for a 5-game back.
I think 5 games is the dream of everyone here, except for probably the players on stage. Given the upcoming week, and remember that if you do make it, you're at the bottom of the gauntlet. You have to play MKOI, and then even if you beat them, you have to also be ready for G2. This is such an arduous position for these teams to be in. But now as you get into the first picks and bans, see what the priority looks like. Heard the devs talk about it a little. Top lane is kind of the big question mark. Oscar's busted out some carries, but they put him on tank duty towards the end of the GX series, and I wonder if we see the same here up against a player at the caliber of Kana.
I mean, it worked for MKOI, right? They ended up bringing out stuff like the Galio from Mirman to try and answer into Rumble. Like, they did a ton of ways of just trying to nullify Kana's impact in the game, and we'll have to see if that's going to be a similar story for Fnatic, because they have looked best when they're able to play around their bottom lane and get upset into a lead, so I think that's going to be the first way they're going to set themselves up.
Yeah, I don't really see skill checking Kana as Oscar Arena's best option. I think just kind of accepting that you maybe lose, send resources towards that bot side. The Kalista and Targamas, Kalista had a great winter, but in Spring Split, he's been pretty muted. He still had the good team fights, but laning phase, I felt there's a lot to be desired from him, and I think that's a great avenue for Fnatic to exploit.
Yeah, I mean, the 2v2 laning phase of Upset and Mickey X is the best in the league, right? If there's a reason that they were voted, of all members on their team, All-Pro. And it's something that we'll have to see how Kalista and Targamas contend with. Interesting, those mismatches, because as much as... The worst part about late season best of fives is you can talk about any lane. So I guess in that sense, we'll just let the draft guide us to see what's important, because it's weird to start a series not mentioning Razork Humanoid or Yike Vladdy in this equation.
Yeah, well, I mean, looking at the draft so far, it's interesting to see that Taliyah going to be left open, Rumble left open. Okay, Taliyah gone, but also then, as I say, the Rumble still put available as well. So
the Warwick ban first 3 is also very peculiar. Yeah. Maybe that's for Ambessa blind pick or something like that. That was a BB. He loved that into the Ambessa.
Perhaps something showing up in scrims that
could be.
We haven't seen too much.
Oscar played it as well. Once,
yeah,
so.
did. Yeah. It's interesting that it's lived on, the legacy of the counter pick. This would be a bold B1.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Wow. I mean, it's
still
Kana,
bold.
Yeah,
still
Kana
bold.
Jace, you know, Kana Jace.
Yep.
He doesn't speak much European on that pick. He's looking fantastic on it.
Doesn't speak much European. That's interestingly the most American thing you've ever said. Doesn't speak European. All right, Kana. This is the thing, is you can see Oscar already like, all right, boys, now we have to decide. We know I will be on a weaker laning phase champion, but how committed are we? Am I taking a Kennen or am I taking an Ornn?
When I'm seeing Jace, I think just a Scion or something like that is just great into it, right? Something I can just hold lane, scale up against it. I love this Kalista from Upset, targets that bottom lane, it can really snowball.
Also, I like the Pantheon, right? And I think that was what Casey were reading with the Warwick ban, is that we're going to take the Jace, leave that Pantheon to go across. And it does nullify in some aspects what Kana can do, because especially when you hit 6, Pantheon being able to cover for a lot of those side lanes means that impact can be a little bit difficult to have as Jace. But
okay. Fighting fire with fire here. Kalist. He wants to fight. He wants to brawl.
Are you ready to talk about Draven? That's my question, because I don't think you've updated your Season 15 Draven guide. I haven't checked your YouTube recently.
So this matchup is one that used to be very Draven favored, but as Kalista is kind of, in a way, gotten stronger in the early game, she can now contest him more, and is definitely more of a skill matchup these days. I think Upset has the upper hand. Kalista, while being a decent Draven, I don't think he's quite on the level of someone like Hansama that I feel like really, really knows the limits.
Yeah. But perhaps a message to be sent here if he can find that performance. Of course, Wukong now alongside it, something Yike pulled out yesterday. Some skepticism as if people like Yike on the farm to 6 junglers, but the Wukong is definitely look better than the Vi. And now the Scion kind of, like you guys talked about, right? One of the champions that can graciously scale through a difficult lane.
But now I'm looking for support. I think Nico is an incredible power pick for both teams because it's just the most OP laning support, and it just pokes out so incredibly well.
Yeah, I think stuff like the Renata as well for this Kalista is going to be very, very strong. So yeah, I think you've got 2 very clear bans here if you're KC, especially since Fnatic can pick it up on the next rotation. But the Braum is actually more worth it worried about. So the engage for Targamas trying to be nullified by the Braum seems their biggest fear.
I think KC is in a bit of a tough position because either Fnatic can choose to blind pick a really strong support in the Nico or the Renata, or they can choose the last pick support, in which case if they get something like the Braum, it can be great into the Draven, great into the Wukong. They just have a lot of good options for Fnatic right now.
Yeah, and I think as well, even just for Humanoid, he's been happy to go for some of the counter picks. Like we've seen the Aurelion Sol creep up as kind of one of his picks. And I don't really think you want to give Vladdy access to, hey, can I go for something like the Silas or the Akali that he's been practicing all split? Trying to force him into a bit more of a blind mid lane seems a nice option for Fnatic as
On the Gwen ban as well, presuming that maybe the Jace could be flexed into mid. That's interesting. Because that could, a big counter pick onto the Scion here could be really big, because Sion blind pick can be really exploited.
Yeah, a champion that you know for in pro play for the most part giving pretty consistent value, but almost entirely because people aren't picking him in situations where you're going to get completely blown out by a strong, in this case, AP counter pick, something like the Gwen. So they do ban it. Now potentially the conservative choice mid lane, and to your point earlier, they are saving counter pick for support. So not immediately rushing to get their hands on that Nico. And KC in a tough spot because they need that magic damage from somewhere. Probably sole AP source means you're looking at some sort of control major carry.
Yeah, I'm curious if they go for something like the Hui and just say, look, we're going to farm it out in mid lane, and then we've got two very long-range damage dealers in the Jace and the Hui that can do a lot of work, and whenever you try to engage, then you kind of just open up the Draven to play a bit more freely in the fight, but we'll have to see exactly what the game plan is.
I was thinking Orianna or Hui, just kind of a standard control mage. You have decent ball delivery with the Wukong, and they go for the Nautilus as well. The only worry I have now is I feel like if Fnatic decide to go for the Nico, it can be a really hard matchup for the Draven. They can even decide to go for something like the Alistar and just scale. I just feel like when you're blind picking support with Draven in a really close matchup, it can be really hard to get that edge that you really want.
And, you know, what Rob mentioned earlier, that long-range game plan, there's not always space for a Draven to work. Very often what we see Draven at his best is these games where you're finding a ton of kills, you're snowballing, short-range champions that you can just completely abuse. But if he's not the one that gets ahead, if he's not the one that snowballs, he's kind of you know, he's a passenger, I think, for the rest of the team comp. We'll see what he's able to do here. Obviously an intense 2v2 match, but the final pick there is the Rel. So not the Alistar, but just matching a little bit of teamfight gauge with teamfight engage. Didn't feel the need, I suppose, to go for the more aggressive laning option, just wanting a bit more reliable engage.
Yeah, and to pick up on that, it ends up being a pretty good matchup for Draven Nautilus. You can hook in early, you can generate pressure. You do have the slower clearing Wukong, so I don't quite see this bot lane matchup as being completely blown out of the water. I think it'll be a relatively slow game, and we'll see if Kana can actually build that top lead. I think that's Casey's biggest win-up.
I think, though, one of the things that Fnatic have been very good at is how they rotate around the map with Upset when they have him on the Kalista. So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of get these, you know, 4.5, 5-minute swaps, and suddenly they're trying to dive Kana or make plays up towards Kana as well. So we'll have to see exactly how they're going to operate, because, again, when you have a Sion, these swaps become very easy to operate.
If you can mismatch in this game, it would be fantastic for Fnatic. I think playing for those grubs, especially denying them from this Jace so that you can't get free plates, is going to be huge.
Eyes on the top side of the map. Seeing what Fnatic can do to disrupt Kana, whether it's Oscar in the 1v1. That might be a tough task, obviously, with Jason the Sion. Or if Fnatic are able to free Upset and Mickey from this bottom lane, get them more active on the map, whether it's through resets or roams. We'll have to find out. Game 1, KC versus Fnatic. Top 2 seeds heading into playoffs. Now fighting for 3rd place. Expectations changing rapidly. And again, the thing on all of our minds is I think we just want to see the best series possible. But we're also all have to recognize that the most recent tape for both these teams was full of that inconsistency. So see who has the stronger mental, see who's been able to prepare better coming into the last game of the week. Both these teams, of course, playing a best of 5 once already.
I love both of these drafts. I think there's so much explosivity on both teams. There's so much you can do. And I like the fact that Upset has Barrier while Kalista has Cleanse. He kind of has to go Cleanse against the Rel Q, against the Pantheon later on, but that does mean that in the direct 2v2s early on, Upset has the health advantage. Maybe can look to leverage that to actually fight in this lane early. I think if either side snowballs, this game is just blown wide open.
Yep. On a side note, one thing that we did forget to celebrate, we have to remember of, is Mickey hitting 6,000 assists in the LEC. This happened in the previous series. So quick shout out. I imagine he will get at least 1 or 2 more in a best of 5 series.
Also, congrats on 9 years. We heard on the desk as well, the man has been playing for 9 years in the LEC, which is a phenomenal feat for that very, very few pro players managed to hit.
It's crazy it's been so long. It doesn't feel that long.
Nostalgic started with Wonder on a roster coached by Yamato Cannon. A LeBlanc quadra-kill, I think, was the only highlight of that team in their first split. Mickey came in, they managed to get top 2 before losing to G2, something Mickey has experienced a few times now across his career. So, very historic player. In contrast to, I think, Kalista on the opposite side, right? One of the youngest players in the league. Looking to make a name for himself here. And the 2v2, nothing too fancy quite yet. You highlighted. They had the option to go Nico, but they didn't. So we have a much more even 2v2, at least around level 1.
Upset also missed his rend on the first creep, so that's why they went for a very aggressive trade to start. So at least already, Kalista and Targan was looking to try and punish small mistakes on the bot side. And I think coming into today, this was definitely the matchup that a lot of people had their eyes on, was how Kalista and Targamas were going to handle against Upset and Mickey, because they have been very dominant in that 2v2.
Yeah, early lanes as Kalista, it's pretty typical you lose push against the Draven, especially Kalista went for the 2 axes going into lane, leashing it off of the red buff. I'd say it's around like level 6 that this matchup really starts to unwind a little bit for the Kalista, because you have so much engaged threat, and your support can play so cocky because you can always save him.
And Upset on Kalista has been one of the power picks for this team, although he hasn't frequently gotten his hands on it. Still 4 games across spring, not a bad look, but good so far that KC have at least been able to take a few of these pesky early levels out of the equation.
And I think the way they've done it is Razork playing heavily for the bottom side to set up the play. So here we go.
Going for a quick engage. Kalista now caught out. Decent amount of damage coming from Upset. The flash forward, flash response going for Kalista. Getting the blood rush. A little bit more movement. Steve waits for the extra spear. Full confidence on the retreat. He will walk away with his life.
But it's a big mistake from Kalista here. He takes a tower shot and allows Mickey to flash in. And I feel like we've seen this before from Kalista. He gets a little bit over-eager in lane. And now losing both sums, I think this is really easy for Razork to exploit.
And that's what I was going to say, especially as we were just saying, Razork loves to play around this Kalista, set it up. But now you've got a Summerless AD carry that he can look to play towards. And even in the early rotation, Yike didn't immediately go into bot side, place that ward that you can see on your screen there to spot out exactly where Razork was. And Nifty was going to try to interact on this bottom half of the map. And it feels like it's just a moment waiting to happen after that play.
Things down toward the bottom side. Razork at least thinking about making that play. We go back to what both teams wanted, something we mentioned earlier. Kana doing well topside, unsurprisingly, building himself up an early gold lead, keeping that pressure topside. Fnatic one step closer to getting themselves out of this lane, being able to swap around the map, snowballing Upset and Mickey.
This is very good hold here by Kalista. He's able to pull the wave, so rather than it now bouncing back into Fnatic, it's actually going to freeze, which then makes Fnatic's bot lane swap instead of running back into this bot side, because they don't want to try to unwind this freeze and lose a ton of CS on Upset. Instead, Oscar going to TP back down and catch that wave.
Here's the lane assignments we were waiting for. Of course, the later grub spawn means this is mostly to put the lanes in a more optimal state rather than swapping for an objective or to trade cross map, but still, obviously something Kana does not want anything to do with. Laning counterpick does not feel so good in the 2v1.
Yeah, you can see him TPing down there to match the Sion. The Targamas is going to roam up, but I do think you're still going to get the push here for Upset and Mickey, and they kind of now have that control where you can start to swap around the map as you feel fit, and just make sure that you're never really playing into some of these matchups that KC want to try and abuse.
They're just swapping.
Yeah, I was going to say, you see it here, just go for the swap immediately, and just not play the lane.
It's great. They got, you know, they got the early lane swaps out of the game, but we still get a little bit of that experience.
I mean, just mismatching the Sion here into enemy bot lane is exactly what they want to try. And maybe they can even look for a gank onto Kana, but he kind of should know, right? KC bot lane is probably telling him they're looking to swap, so he's just going to hard push. And then probably they're going to base as well and try to match again, is what I would predict here.
Wouldn't be too surprising. A little bit later in the game, Oscar would have had 6. Would have been nice to be able to get back to those waves faster or set up that potential gank that you mentioned. Still, Fnatic are going to try and pressure.
And this flash here.
If they get the sum, it'll feel like a pretty big victory. Again, just making that lane phase that much harder. Nice backstep from Kana. Mickey taking his time on the Shattering Strike, but a clean flash from Kana. Good reactions to make sure the CC does not connect.
And now Kana is so far behind in tempo. Oscar can push in this top side, and maybe even Fnatic want to try to zone out enemy bot lane here. Kalist, still no cleanse, up in around 15 seconds.
The Ignite
just supposed to be annoying. Oh,
Mickey. Fine with the aftershock. Interrupting the bases, not taking a page from the Heretics book and staying for an extra couple interrupts and potentially risking anything else. Just the one cheeky interrupt.
And they're swapping again. They're just swap into swap into swap. They keep trying to mismatch here. And I think it's Kana the one that's actually bleeding out of this. He lost the wave now on top. Top wave is slow pushing back into Fnatic, and he's going to get zoned off of this wave again.
Yeah, the only nice thing was they managed to get the plate on the bottom side at least, but burning his flash for it. KC now going to look for Dragon on the flip side, but I think at this stage with the mismatch, more than likely going to be Fnatic being able to trade then for the Void Grubs when they spawn in just a minute and a half.
And Fnatic conceding some of the power that the Kalista can bring in the 2v2 to get those favorable lanes to make sure that Oscar can participate at the very least in this early game, potentially catch out Connie here. The flash is down, lockup is there, nice thundering blow back. The aftershock just makes him too damn tanky. Upset continuing to chase. Pierce not going to hit. Kana able to walk away again, but the isolated 1v1, the blind pick Jace, something that Fnatic put a lot of effort into shutting down.
But now you have the ideal lane assignments for Fnatic, with the Sion being able to lane into this Draven with this rated Dirk, and the Jace being punished by the Rel and the Kalista. This is really nice macro for Fnatic so far.
Also a lot of lane swaps, just like the bulk order on lane swaps.
Yeah.
I don't know if more macro is better macro, but they have definitely given us more macro in this game.
big up micro.
Yeah. Eventually, you know, if you just swap enough, someone will make a mistake. And as you mentioned, Fnatic still in a favorable position, 30 seconds away from that grub spawn. See if they're still in a good spot to contest.
Yeah, it's also the fact that Razork is now ticked over to 6 means that you can see Kana kind of has to reset because he's a little nervous if Targamas wasn't there, that you could immediately go for these plays, the Pantheon, and look for the dives. Especially his upset ticks over to 6 as well. The ability to just reset on tower aggro is going to be disgusting to try and deal with, but I mean, at the moment, no plays.
The problem now is KC wants to try to contest this Herald, these grubs, so that's why they're sending Draven up top. But they're really delayed. So Fnatic are choosing to... Are they swapping again? Okay, now the swaps maybe are getting a bit too crazy here. Because now they're swapping away from the grubs.
Flash
so they
out
might
mid lane.
Give both grubs and Drake to KC. Maybe they overcooked a little. I'm not sure about this one.
Too many swaps.
Yeah, I agree.
Full motion sickness on the swaps.
I think as well, even the fact that you had a nice base there, because you're still waiting for the BF sword for Kalista to come through, so you managed to pick up the plated steel caps for upset plus your recurve bow. I think you were in a decent spot on an 80 carry where you could have tried to fight off that little bit of just the expenditure difference. But yeah, going to be KC able to pick up both objectives this early.
One thing to highlight is, in the context of all these swaps, KC up in objectives, as you mentioned. Fnatic has done what they can to mitigate the Jace having a monster lead. We know Kana can be a problem, but the other big thing is mid lane. Not somewhere we initially expected to talk about, but Vladdy getting that flash blown in the 1v1, and it is Humanoid holding on to a pretty decent CS lead. I think Victor expected to do well in that early lane phase, but Vladdy maybe once he has another item under his belt can start to come back here and match that early pressure.
I'm really looking for Fnatic to try to get something out of this swap now. They get the red buff onto Razork, but I really don't feel like it's enough. I would like to see them try to zone Kana, get some sort of CS lead, because when you look across the board, yeah, they've done nice swaps, but they're equal everywhere, and they're down to Drake, and they're down 3 grubs.
Well, the one lead they have is like mid lane has, you know, a decent gold lead, but again, that's
I don't think that's due to the swap.
Mostly built in isolation. Yeah. So you can claim it if you want, but it feels a bit disingenuous. Like, great swaps, guys. Humanoid got a lead. Like, the only person who didn't participate. Hell yeah.
It looks like they might be trying to look. Actually, no, there's the reset. I was about to say you could look for something on the on Kalist.
I think they're looking to swap again.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say you took the Scuttle Crab into your Croak. Now you could move back, sorry, into your Gromp, and now you could potentially move into a bot side play here, but looks like, yeah, they're just going to continue to swap and just not let them play. Even the barrier burns, we can't get interrupted.
Okay. He was scared of the Ignite from Targamas to
cancel the base.
But I'm not sure why they're so hellbent on just swapping over and over again. I mean, the Draven matchup is annoying, but I don't think it's this bad.
You know?
And Sion is great into Draven, but if enemy keeps matching you, you should be happy having that tempo lead and utilizing that.
Also, the kind of explosiveness you expect in a game with a Pantheon Kalista Rel hasn't been there. Although, as I say that, Kana stunned, waiting to get close enough so the Thundering Blow can't knock him away. Mickey now going to follow. Kana should just die here. Mickey quick to tank. Reset is there from upset if he needs it. He does. That's first blood going through for the side of Fnatic. So they get something, but again, it's not really on the back of the swaps. It's just that top play with Pantheon.
And crucially, Kana's flash was still down for another 5-6 seconds. And that enabled Fnatic to make that play.
Humanoid.
Glad he gets some good damage here.
Severing Bolt now just trying to clear the way. Targamas in the area. Humanoid knows that he has to back up. I think this early game, there is a 1K gold lead for Fnatic, right? But they've given a lot of objectives to get it. And if Humanoid goes down here, Severing Bolt flash in, Q! Can't flash that auto, baby!
Really nice play from Yike. You can see him waiting in that Raptor pit, seeing if they could get the damage, and Vladdy manages to connect. Now Oscar in and spotting all the KC are going to be dispersing from the area, but they got the steal.
And this is one of the least violent KC Fnatic games we've seen. But we were looking back, and then we also cast the Winter semifinal. And it's Draven Kalista, and they're not killing each other. Hayden, our stats guy, looking through almost 1 kill a minute on average in that last best of 5 we cast. This is a very different pace of game. I don't know if there's some jitters or some overcommitment to lane swaps, or maybe they just had to wait for Vladdy to back at a bad time. Vladdy, you're going to die here. Upset, though, might be in trouble as well. Wukong all to follow. Razork on the way in, but it looks like Kalista should go down. Knock was there, not enough to stop the second proc of the Cyclone. Now it's Mickey following as well. Every time Fnatic get a little something, KC just take more.
Good cover again from Yike, though, making sure that he was able to get into position. It looked a little weird with the knock-up into the hook, but managing to connect burst perfectly. Upset goes down, and KC happy to get 2 off the back of it.
And now it's a Drake fight. I think that's coming up here. As we see the replay, I mean, Vladdy is a little bit cocky here with the recall. He doesn't have flash. I'm pretty surprised that this ended up turning well for KC, but it's Upset that's kind of jumping to the wrong side. If he jumps up to top side, he could probably avoid the Wukong Nautilus engage, but then he ends up going down. Razork gets cancelled. They don't have the damage.
That was a nice job from Yike, as you say, with the cancel on the engage, the stun. Just works out perfectly. But now his Dragon set up. Flash is burnt on towards Razor, upset and Humanoid. Targamas caught.
And crucially here, this is Draven's time to shine. If he gets,
oh my god, good engage. Follow-up is there, but Yike and Kaliss are both able to make it out. That's 2 flashes. Targamas and Kaliss getting out of the fight. So nice little incremental advantage there. Good catch by Mickey, knowing that he had backup.
Yes, phenomenal engage from Mickey here, and I believe that will be just the Drake going over to Fnatic as they force 2 flashes and force full control of this Dragon.
Nothing much that can be done to respond. Kana wandering up just to poke in with the Shock Blast. Has already completed the Black Cleaver adaptation for that Scion lane just to make sure that he can't threaten Oscar.
And now we're getting to the very tense stages when you play Draven. Because if Draven dies, the game is over. But if Draven gets a kill, the game is also over.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think we have this conversation not very often because we don't have a lot of Draven, but he is, in a weird way, a scaling pick. If you play a passive enough game, eventually you'll have enough stacks to just kill a guy. Just outright.
Like I thought about it, like what if you just go to Elder, you have 1,000 stacks, just one shot boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. I don't think anyone wants to play that Draven game. If you do, you're either a bad or very boring person, but that single moment might be worth it. That's a lot of dopamine.
I don't know. I like my Stardew Valley in League of Legends. I don't know what you mean.
This man is set up. He's got the berries. He's got the spreadsheet. He is ready to stack. I don't think Kaliss has ever played Stardew Valley in his life. I think it's not like
a good game.
It is a good game.
Maybe.
We'll bring it up. We can ask him on the podcast later. Yeah. Hopefully it'll be a fun reference and not a reference to losing 250 or so Draven stats. We'll find out. Targamas, nice flash over the wall. Follow up, good CC. Mickey caught out. Celestial opposition blocks a lot of the initial damage, but a well-timed knockup. He's at least going to get Upset's ulti out.
But that's that Kalista ulti. If Mickey doesn't have that here, Kalista can just ulti, get that cash in, and finally snowball this game. But he can't.
And I also think this is a representation of what KC have definitely been improving on over the course of this year. It's just Yike and Targamas working so close together. Targamas going over the wall, Yike there to help out. It's starting to get vision control on this top side. And it's just playing off the fact that Kalista has so much control over this mid wave because he is a Draven with a bajillion stacks. So you can easily threaten Upset and make it easy then for your jungle and support to lean up towards Vladdy and keep him safe on this top side.
Also credit to Yike, right? Early game, Razork wasn't able to find too many angles, did burn a couple of flashes. Yike a little bit quieter, but once he's at level 6, he has been everywhere alongside Targamas.
Also, if you look at Kalist's inventory, you might think that looks a little bit strange. He has a lot of different items for different components here, but it's kind of normal. On Draven, you like to buy a lot of components. The only thing I would critique is kind of the serrated Dirk, because you are so heavy AD. There is going to be a ton of armor on the side of Fnatic. You can even see Upset rush toward that plated steel caps. But now we got a Herald to test here.
All right. Slight delay on the first item spike for lethality. We'll see if it pays off, if it gets him that payday faster.
Mickey is on the wrong side of the map.
He caught. Yike to follow. Mickey can't hit anyone. He'll take tower aggro, so he's just wandering out, waiting to mount. And that's the cash out! Just a huge bag of money hand-delivered to Kalist.
Mickey just completely out of position there. No safety net at all.
And then give 1,000 gold to Kalist. So now he's finally ahead of this Kalista.
We found the counter to our aggressive engage supports in Europe. If you just make them worth enough money, it's no longer optimal to be playing so deep in Fog of War.
And it's Herald as well, going over to the side of KC. And a huge gold swing here, as they're now 1.5k gold ahead.
And really credit to KC. Again, Fnatic swapped so many times to disrupt their laning strategy, and they were successful. But KC still got objectives, and now KC have cashed out the Draven, everything you could ever want. And you said it, Jack, although we'll see if Vladdy can make it out of this exchange. Looks like Gravity's not quite fast enough with the Chaos Storm, excuse me. Follow up there, and now it looks like Humanoid just going to fall. Another TP in. TP going to be matched by KC. It's starting to fall apart for the side of Fnatic.
Every time Fnatic seem to look at somewhere on the map, Yike is there. Like, every point that Fnatic have tried to attack, both Targamas and Yike have been there to defend, and they're doing a fantastic job of just getting these leads. You're now a 3-kill Wukong. You've got 5 assists to Vladdy. He's the one that's been protected.
But it's an incredibly odd decision by Humanoid. Your support is dead, your jungler's both side, and you try to go for a solo kill when enemies just on Herald. These sort of mistakes from top teams,
they're going to cost you. And these are the things that Giant X actually started to exploit in their series against Fnatic as well. Now, it never led to the victory, but you could definitely see it was punishing Oscar Runen and Humanoid as they overextended in side lanes, or when Fnatic went for plays, Giant X were there to cover, and a lot of that came from, hey, we've got these double semi-global ultimates on our jungler in game 1 and 2, but it's still a very clear game plan that it seems KC are kind of taking a leaf out of that book on cover sides, beat Fnatic.
Yeah. And it's working fantastically so far. 2.5k gold lead. Yes, 1,000 of that is a single kill, but it's what you want to see when you have the Draven on your team. You mentioned before, Draven gets the catch out, game is over. Now, we're not there yet, but it does feel like the runway is clear, and Fnatic can't afford to be making more sloppy mistakes, can't afford to get caught on side lanes.
They've definitely set KC up for success here. We'll see this Drake contest, but Targamas on the wrong side of the wall.
Has it procced Aftershock, so he's just going to get one popped here. Beautifully layered CC. If he hit anyone, if he autoed anyone, he would have been too damn tanky, but they just nail him.
But both supports here making crucial mistakes before objectives, with Mickey getting caught out before the Herald, and now Targamas getting caught out before the Drake. It's this little bit of maybe nervousness or just trying to go for a little bit too much, but both teams are eager to pounce, and Kalista's far up
on the way in. Kalista's locked up. That's going to be big money over to the side of Upset. Now they're trying to keep the fight going. Spyline to spare out, but Rattler's not going to take a whole hell of a lot of damage. Mount up. Into the Herald from Herald, ramming into Humanoid, getting the ulti down as well. Styling as he gets the reset. He might look for one more, flashing out. Yike! Playing like a demon in this game.
Yike is making a montage on him with the Combat Herald into the ultimate as he takes down Humanoid. That was beautiful.
That was sick from Yike, and honestly, great to capitalize on what was going to be a big Fnatic win. Kalist overextended in mid. You never saw Fnatic show in the bot wave, but still tried to make the play on Upset. But now, here we go.
Hook in. Mickey making his way out there. Now it looks like it's Targamas who's overextended. Vladdy does decent damage, but not enough to tear through Upset's health bar. Razor chasing, that's one down. Upset stepping past the grasping Maw. KC backing off, but Targamas caught again.
And the fights just continue here as nobody's taking this Ocean Drake. They just want to keep fighting each other. And now, with Targamas being dead for 10 seconds, maybe Fnatic can finally get control?
We broke the seal. Now it's all fights all the time.
Yeah, but you can see here, Fnatic never showed in the bot wave. Kalist went for the play aggressive onto Upset, and immediately Mickey and Razak were able to collapse. Although Humanoid here definitely went too far, but now topside, wait, what?
Oscar going in. Kana now running, trying to get the extra movement speed. One more auto, Q flash forward, a little bit more damage. Oscar desperate to finish the kill. Yike on the way, going to be forced back. The Baba's special, not going to see it, but Kana playing with fire there.
Oscar having a great game on the Sion here, being equal CS and being able to pressure out the Jace. It's absolutely what you love to see as a Fnatic fan, a bounce back week from him after that tough performance against G2.
Well, and also the investment paying off on a lot of those early swaps, which we drew question to because it did mean giving up a lot of objectives. The thing that they were playing for was to make sure that Oscar had the best time that he possibly could. 900 extra HP from the Soul Furnace. Able to threaten at least a little bit here and there with that ulti on top side.
This is a weird start on Dragon from Fnatic, though. They don't have any ultimates available. Oscar in, Razor, Humanoid, and Upset all down, so definitely not in a position to go for it. They did TP Oscar in and into that bottom side to try and push the wave, but KC might actually just collapse on him if he's not careful.
I swear this Ocean Drake has been alive for 7-8 minutes now, as neither team is really able to fully play for it. It's every time they try, a fight breaks out, or the other team is able to leverage control. We'll see if Fnatic can break the seal.
List has the flash, has the cleanse. Comfortable to sit around here in mid lane. Vladdy and Targa there to cover as Oscar takes up home in the bottom side. Is this the moment? They have Crab in their favor, they're clearing vision, they have Kalista. Surely this is just a free objective.
Yeah, I can Targamas recalled. I think Fnatic can just finish this. But they're pretty
pings.
Yeah, there. Looks like KC wants to try to contest still.
Nah, they're dropping it. They're just maybe a cheeky shot blast over the wall. Maybe see if anyone wanders a bit too far.
No way.
Oh! What is steal in Korean? This man is spitting.
Oh my god, when the Ren smite timing fails.
Why are solo laners stealing so many objectives in this playoffs? What is... It's against Kalista.
It was a curse
It's against Kalista. It's mathematically impossible.
I think
I'm not a mathematician, but it's impossible.
Dragon was just cursed, I think. It took 10 minutes to slay, and it was stolen anyways.
Yeah, there's someone who's made a fantasy league out there somewhere who is delighted that there's been these steals coming through.
Some absolute wacko who's like, Kana's going to steal an objective. You were right. I don't know how. Prophetic, some would say.
Okay, so I was going to say good on, Fnatic getting some objectives, putting themselves, I was going to say all these things about Soul Point, Kalista as an objective team, is they catch, but Targamas still a good buffer.
Very deep here. Yike is behind.
Yike with a follow-up, and this is where Kalista just gets a free auto. That is a terrifying Draven. Upset is dead. Mickey will scoot his way out of Upset's body to find a way back under the tower. Excellent pick from KC.
Fnatic didn't need to try and force it, though. You had everyone on reset, and now it might be more.
Oscar on the way in, I think, just to try and delete the wave. There's no hope really here of taking the fight, just trying to get them out. Mickey will fall to Vladdy, but now KC want more. Kana is out for blood. He took an objective. He wants to take their lives. Knockback with a thundering blow. Taken his sweet time in the mid lane. Baby, the montage does not stop. Kalist with a double in mid.
And KC are just getting absolutely everything as Fnatic are so disjointed. First Upset and Mickey trying to go for too much in enemy jungle, and then they get shut down under tower as they try to defend 3v5. It's just the type of incoherence that we've unfortunately grown used to from Fnatic.
And it's going to cost them. KC over towards Atakan, a TP coming in. They're going to try and punish the mid lane push from Kana.
But Kana has the blast going.
I think.
Bit of a slow coming in from Humanoid, now trying to chase. Extra movement speed from the form swap. There's just not an angle. That's Thornbound down. Otacon to the side of KC, and well, I was wondering how the Draven would fit into this comp, and he's certainly fitting his boot up Fnatic's backside pretty good.
I think Wukong is doing a lot of heavy lifting here.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to think 80 carry propaganda right now, and you're the person who's going to shut me down. I am seeing the Wukong, yeah.
I was going to say, it's also 2v3. Like, look at where the rest of Fnatic are on the map. Like, this play made no sense. It felt like Fnatic were like, oh, we have to make a play because we're behind. But in the grand scheme of things, I think they were still in a position to try and take the fights. But now Vladdy got a ton of kills off the back of this. The mid lane tower's fallen. Like, it feels like you've just handed, well, said route over to Fnatic, or KC on a silver platter.
Yeah, I mean, credit to KC again. Kana still able to find a way to get these advantages despite so much attention being paid to make sure that he can't have the 1v1 lane, and Kalist delivering on the Draven. We're in Fearless, right? So if KC don't win the game where Kana gets Jace, or Fnatic don't win the game where Upset gets Kalista, that feels like a huge blow as we get deeper into the best of 5. It's Mickey caught out. Kalista doing a lot of damage here. Mickey just gonna get one shot. Reset now coming in, and it's Yike once again. The monkey just keeps spinning. Oscar gonna try to disengage. Looks like Yike will finally go down, or will he? Yes. Soul Furnace gonna pop, and now it's Vladdy with the perfect setup to follow through. Humanoid goes golden, but the timing will keep him standing for an extra second. Not enough for him to take down Kalist. Down he goes. Kalist unstoppable, and the game is over. It might look like there are players still alive. There might still be structures, but KC are too damn strong.
I mean, Oscar does get 1,000 gold from Yike here as Targamas tries to flash over the Sinal to block his escape, but he still ends up getting out. But you see how strong Yike is on this Wukong. He can just jump into 4 members and cause so much havoc in the back line. And I don't really see Fnatic having that much counterplay against it.
But also, like, just come back to your point there, Drake, because it doesn't really feel like it's a handling difference on the champions or even a draft diff. It's just decision making on Fnatic in a lot of these cases. You see there, Mickey gets caught out. KC then able to jump into the backline. Yike doing so much work. This was just a great team fight setup from KC, able to punish super effectively. And even here, Humanoid getting caught by the Maw. Goes golden, but it's just into the waiting hands of Kalista as soon as he comes out.
Yeah, and I think overall, you look at that fight, Yike, I think, over-eager on the engage. The rest of his team can't actually enter the fight. There's some good efforts to zone away Kalista, zone away Vladdy. But he still lives for so long, and that's a testament to the gold lead. And when he finds the good engage, where the team is there to back him up, where Vladdy especially is there to back him up, it feels really unplayable for Fnatic. And with both these teams maybe wanting to fight front to back, KC are going to be ones who are getting set up first. They've just got more towers. They've got Prio. They've got stronger sides. This is a tough point to play through.
And when you look at items right now, it's looking really scary for Fnatic. 3 items on the Draven, nearly 3 items on the Wukong as well. And it's just, I think they're hard out DPS, so it looks like they're just going to have to drop this Ocean Drake. But I don't know if it really gets better for them as the game progresses.
Yeah, you can see as well, they're even shifting both Vladdy and Targamas up to that top side, so kind of can get the wave as well. They're covering side lanes well, so even if Fnatic want to try and go for some sort of counter punch, it's not even there. So
they don't even have full control of the Nash either.
No.
They don't have any Nash pressure. The game is slowly slipping out of Fnatic's hands. I think they really need a great engage onto Kalist or Yike going way too deep.
I think you're completely correct, and I think one of the difficult points is in the laning phase at least, Humanoid was winning in isolation, died on a side lane. Vladdy has been comparatively quiet in this game, but things are easy for him. He didn't have to stop and get a Seekers or a Zanya's. He's going to be able to stand so far away and deal so much damage. And Razork's opportunities to find these side lane plays on the Pantheon are only getting more limited as we get further in this game.
But the reason that's happened is because of the decision making for Fnatic in that late early game to early mid game, where they're like, oh, we want to try and go for that flank with Mickey, where he gets caught out underneath the enemy tower, ends up dying. Then we try and go for the plays around Dragon, which aren't really working out for us. And even then, Upset and Mickey try and take a 2v3. So it's just been weird decisions from Fnatic that are pretty uncharacteristic. I will say, like, these are not things that we traditionally see from Upset and Mickey as much as trying to take 2v2s like that, but it's never the case against Baron. Yeah.
Wow. Fnatic don't even walk up to contest here, as now it's looking very tough for them. I think they really need KC to get a little bit too over-eager, trying to hit a tower when they're a little bit split off, and then Mickey can flash in. That would be what I'm thinking right now if I was in the game. Need to look out for a numbers advantage fight.
It's so difficult, because if they had gone for a full hyperscaling plan, you could argue, hey, we have a Sion, we've got the better front line. If this is a Jinx, if it's a Zeri, like, yeah, maybe there's an angle. They picked the Kalista, and while Kalista is better late game than she used to be, we've talked about this, her ability to just glide with the passive changes, you still don't want to be trading autos with Yike, Kana, or Kalista in most fights.
Yeah, and it's hard to glide against a incredibly fed Wukong that one-shots you as soon as he gets top shot.
Yeah. You can't glide on the glider. That man is literally spinning, just moving.
Can't glide on the spinner.
Yeah, can't glide on the spinner.
It looks like one of those game shows, you know, where they just spin the thing, you gotta jump over, and Kalista's not getting over.
You're not moonwalking in the Beyblade arena, Bucko. There's no room for that. So, I mean, again, credit to Yike. This is not the early game that I was expecting, but it has turned into an incredibly dominant mid into late game now from KC. Fnatic in a position many teams have found themselves in, trying to find a way to come back. And it might rely on KC making some of those same fumbles that they did in their series yesterday. Although I imagine that they probably learned from those mistakes.
Yeah, you can see them grouping up here with just a nice any sort of engage from Mickey. So what you really want to look for when an enemy team has Nashor is when they try to play multiple lanes and they actually split up, and you can punish one of the people that are on side or the people that are not grouped. But when they're all together like this, okay, Oscar tries to go.
Body block goes in from Targa. Kalist flashing out. Interrupt from Targa is also good. Ulti onto Upset, buying a bit more space. Upset's now going to be in trouble trying to zone his way back, but it's Kana on the flank. Keep your eyes on this Jace. Where does he go in? Hammer form, decent damage, knocking back Mickey. Upset forced back as well, and Yike finally going with the ulti. Good disruption coming in, but Oscar cannot channel a Q. CC used beautifully to stop the Sion from getting any effect, as all of Fnatic forced to retreat, likely to give up the tower, but are going to be sprinting out of base for the re-engage.
They managed to get the health bars back though, so they won't lose the inhibitor, but can they get more off the back? Mickey trying desperately to chase them down, but there's just no one here.
I mean, to be honest, they kind of pulled off a miracle here. They ended up getting a 1-for-0 in a fight that looked really bad for them, with Oscarinen starting it off just solo ulting Targamas and Yike having a great flank, but Fnatic were able to peel off, and they kind of salvaged the Nash here. They only gave over 2 towers, which all in all is really good for them.
I think it was the fact that KC just couldn't really get underneath the towers. As Oscar goes in here, you see Yike and Kana starting to move across to threaten the back line, but can't really move in. Vladdy and Kalista are too far away from having access, and then Upset is able to step away with Oscar kind of playing to push back that back line.
And it was a great Kalista ult from Mickey to cancel Yike's engage onto Upset that allowed him to finally kite it out and survive. I think if Yike gets that engage off, the game would just end right there.
Yeah, a single carry going down, the wave clear's gone, that inhibitor, easy pickings. The slightest differences here. Oscar able to live, Carry's able to survive as well. KC's still gonna have first setup on the Drake here, using the last few seconds of that Baron just to make sure they have mid push.
And Ocean Soul, typically we don't value it that highly, but when you're up against a comp like Fnatic, I don't think they have that much burst damage. It's kind of slow stacking with the Kalista, and this Victor build is kind of vegan. It's not doing that much damage. So if they get Ocean Soul, I don't see Fnatic being able to take down this front line.
Definitely be tough. A vegetarian Victor build. Pescatarian, still eats fish. KC zoned away a bit by Oscar. Oscar's still pretty damn tanky, unending despair, at least healing up some of the damage, but Yike is really unconcerned. Quick use of the clone. Follow up now from the ulti coming in from Razork. Instant spiraling despair. Right as the Aegis assault fades away, though, he's going to be slowed up, and it's Kana. Isolated. Kana for a brief moment. Has he overstayed? Flashing out. Held onto it for so long, and it's Yike going in again, finding 3 members. Kalist untouched on the backside. Mickey retreating. The Draven free to run rampant in the exchange. Upset running for his life, taking Mickey with him. KC get the exchange, losing not a single member. Oscar Rinnan sent packing, and this might just be the game.
KC's had the fight in their sights, and they knew exactly how they wanted to try and play it out, separating the backline from Fnatic and taking them down bit by bit.
Yeah, Targamas just wonderfully zoned off Upset here with the help of Vladdy, which just made it so he couldn't join his team. And with that, it's going to be the soul for KC. They're probably going to be able to break up an inhibitor here as well. Maybe they back off, but just the soul in and of itself might be what broke the camel's back.
Yeah. Fear into Oscar, and you can just see Yike frontlining pretty effortlessly there. Has the Thunder Sky, has Ocean now. They're going to need the full commit to a fight, and KC have the time to play side lanes here. Knock down another tier 2.
And it's a 10,000 gold lead. Ocean Soul, Nash spawning in a minute. It's going to be tough for Fnatic.
And it must be so hard to be a player in this situation where you're simultaneously thinking about what the hell do you do next game while trying to hold enough of your brain in this game to know that if there is an opportunity for a comeback, you have to find it, but this was not it.
Yeah, especially as you see, Kana just jumps onto Humanoid after getting past everyone there, and then Oscar Rinnan is trying to buy space on the backline, but once he's used that Decimating Smash, it opens up for KC to go forward. Yike then buys the space for Kana. Targamas is on towards Mickey, and with that ultimate that was already highlighted, Upset gets forced out of the fight as well, so KC just get to play the fight as they want, picking off one by one as they move through it.
And Kana, not a tanky guy, but even when 3 people turn to face him, if they're not on top immediately, Upset just takes too much time to do relevant damage to this Jace. Flanking Jace buying 8 seconds was not on my bingo card.
KC's draft at this point is also so much easier to execute. Like, if you compare Wukong Ultimate to Pantheon Ultimate, there's a pretty big gap there in ease of execution. As Oscar trying to get some control of this Nash here, but it's so difficult. I think KC can just turn wherever. Kalisz can tank this Nash forever. There's really no wrong play for KC here.
We'll see. If that prediction remains true. Or if you're going to be roasted forever for a massive capture curse. But I'm inclined to agree with you. 9K lead. They haven't covered the top side of the map. Fnatic buying time to play on these waves through top, but it still might just be a 50-50. Oscar taking a bunch of damage. Now, if they lose him, they might just lose in an instant. Fnatic forced away to try and contend in the fight as Kalisz just continues to solo objective. This is a 4v5, and it might be the best fight that they get, but Oscar's already dead right as the fight is starting. Severing Bolt, not enough. The shield from the Soul Furnace keeping him standing. Yike zoned back, but he can just go in at a moment's notice. He's in the base, breaking an inhibitor. Fnatic being herded around the map.
Kalisz is still on Baron. Yike isn't even there.
Yike running. Kalisz wants to finish the objective. But Yike might give his life. This is big for Fnatic, a decent opportunity. Baron there, but they're going to lose at least 60 seconds because Yike isn't a part of the picture.
I think they tunnel visioned a bit too much on trying to stop Razork from ulting in and stealing the Nash.
But it's not the Team Heretics game where Kalisz was mid. This is a split focus one, but they're so ahead.
I mean, they still got the Nash, so it's still a pretty big win.
I'm not telling you it's a good play, but the context of this game is that they are so wildly far ahead that I don't. It's a little oops.
I will say, if KC does not get 3 inhibitors with this Nash, it's winnable for Fnatic in the Elder fight if they can get an Elder Flip. But if they get 3 inhibs, it's pretty done.
What would the game state need to look like for you not to say that a team could win it in the Elder Flip? That's my question.
Well, if you lose 3 inhibs, because then enemy team just presses S, minions end the game.
Fair enough. Controversial press S strat. Mickey going in under the tower, full engage, but a nice peel back. They're getting deleted. Kalisz catching in as Vladdy finds a perfect combo across the entire fight. Despair of Fnatic.
And you killed Kalisz, but at what cost here? As KC have them routed, they're going to be able to pick off Oscar. Maybe not.
Running. Targa on the chase. Oh! Hits him with the Pangu.
And his 30-second death timers here. You have to feel that KC can just run it down.
That was heartbreaking for Upset. He flashed into the maw from Vladdy and immediately regrets his life choices. But I think that's kind of been the story a little bit for Fnatic in this one as KC look to take game number 1.
And it was a brawl. It was a well-fought game. Some mistakes coming in from both teams, but ultimately it's KC that looked a lot stronger in this game 1.
Weathered the early game storm, responded well to the swaps, got the objectives, took the fights, found better picks. KC, incredible momentum here coming out from game 1. Nearly picture-perfect performance.
I do have to wonder, maybe they overcooked a little bit with the swaps. They felt like they weren't able to play that good early game to snowball bot lane like I kind of wanted to see from them to try to play for those objectives. They gave over Drake, gave over Grubs.
And we'll see what the adaptation is. The draft for sure has to change in Fearless. The lane swaps might not. We're going to go to a quick break. When we return, game 2 on the horizon.
He doesn't like that. Look at him, he's a good boy, but he don't like that.
Maybe we could play some A rounds or something like that. I mean, this is map, right? New tower, new objective.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Now approaching the final pick, and what a ride it's been.
A moment of hesitation, but we're getting closer to the game changer. What a legendary journey we've been on.
I mean, there's so many excellent options, but one of them has to be a perfect
They're about
fit.
to lock in.
Oh, what a pick!
What a way to close things out.
Join Marriott Bonvoy for a chance to claim a free Hextech chest and key. Marriott Bonvoy, a check-in at every checkpoint.
You walk along the edge of danger, and it will change you. Why would you let this voice set in your head? It is meant to destroy you. You summon storms, you play with nature. Now watch it hurt you. Why would you want to shape the world in your hands? You will never make it through.
Get it. And if Humanoid goes down here, oh, Separate will flash in. Q can't flash that auto, baby.
Jag kan säga någonting. Han var stänga.
I can kill him probably.
I got him.
Nice. Look how well. I think he resetted it.
Maybe a cheeky shot blast over the wall. Maybe see if anyone wanders a bit too far.
Kill the Sion.
Get Pantheon flash istället. With Pantheon.
Kill den bulk.
Jag bringar Griffing.
Go
attack, okay? Don't go tower, I think.
Okay, just go fast.
But really good.
Mega Griffin. Those were Casey's words, actually, to talk about this game. Going in their favor here in Game 1, of course, we know this could and should be a long series. Guys, one of the points we had coming in today was team's preparation, given the short turnaround, given the fact that they did not start playoffs on the right foot. What do we think of their preparation so far, Finn?
Preparation is the word of the day, and I really want to highlight exactly what Fnatic did, I think, so well coming into this Game 1, because we've seen Kana's Jace take over games, and they had a masterful plan how with good tempo swaps by their bot lane to really shut down his early game to make sure he could not snowball. So here you see Fnatic's bot lane already pushed in the bot wave and based, and now they open into the top lane. What you're gonna see is that Fnatic is gonna push a wave, base, and then go to wherever Kana is. This way, they're gonna end up with their Sion against the Draven of KC, with their Kalista being into the Jace. With the stopping of his recall here, and after a while, suddenly Kana decides, I want to farm as well. And now Mickey ends up behind him, gets his flash, and later on, this ends up translating to a really nice kill, while Sion is just completely chilling against the Draven here. And a really nice early game plan executed by Fnatic, and really clever. I love this ingenuity, and I really feel like they're playing towards their strength here.
Wasn't enough, though.
No, it wasn't. You know, this is the gold standard of the plan, where you have, you know, Sion and a lane swap. You're swapping against the Jace. You have a Kalista, Renata who can dive. This is as good as it gets for a lane swap plan, and it still didn't work. That's insane to me.
What does it say about KC or Fnatic, actually?
It says that Yike is really good.
I like, oh, it's so annoying, Fnatic. I really want to see you be able to translate this to victories. You have so many good steps, but Yike just became a monster this game. He kept getting kill after kill, and I feel like when he gets ahead on his Wukong, Fnatic had no tools to deal with his Wukong constantly diving in your Kalista. Because of the way Kalista works, she needs to out-attack and then jump. But if there's a Wukong spinning on top of you, that becomes so hard.
It says a lot that when we were looking at what we should put on your screen here, what clip should we bring up? There were too many to choose from.
Yeah.
You got that first kill into Humanoid under turret. He punished in mid lane a bunch of times too, continued into the team fights later, even getting the Herald play as well. This is becoming more and more popular, just kind of like using it as an escape vehicle, or in this case, a battering ram. How he manages to have this kind of effect after the early game which Fnatic had, it's just beyond me.
Yeah, and here, Fnatic, you need to kind of take a step back, because I think when I look at this game, I really have critique towards Humanoid. I feel like Humanoid this game did not have a good game at all. He kind of helped Yike get that early snowball, and the way he built, I didn't see a lot of damage coming in from Humanoid. So Yike was an issue, and Kana, despite being shut down time and time again in the early game, still managed to get his items, still managed to land those massive shock blasts that stole the dragon and poked out the team of Fnatic.
And we know what Yike can do when he's in like good disposition, such as what he displayed here with the Wukong. We also know that consistency, or rather lack of consistency from both teams, is usually what fails them. So I'm not too worried for Fnatic. I expect them to be able to bounce back here. What do you want to target to do? So you were mentioning Humanoid. I love the fact that they put Oscar on a stable solo lane as well. What improvements do we want to see if it's not from individual performance like Humanoid, as you said?
Well, I need to see more coherence from Fnatic, because what I saw in this game is that Fnatic put heavy emphasis onto making sure their bot lane was getting ahead. But when you put so much help into your bot lane, your mid laner has to play a bit more respectful, because you can't rely on Razork being there to bail you out, because you're helping your bot lane. So I think Humanoid played a little bit too aggressive in those trades, despite not having the backup from Razork. So either we need to see the Razork help Humanoid when he's taking these trades and sacrifice for himself, or we need to see Humanoid taking a step back and allowing upset and allowing Mickey to kind of impact the game.
And that's the thing for me. For me, it's stick to the plan. You had the plan going good. You know, the Sion was in a good spot. It's not the Jace like pummeling that matchup. They managed to swap him out of that. It's not, you know, the Draven getting a million kills early from laning phase. They did well. You said that they put the emphasis onto the bot lane. Humanoid, you don't have to throw a spanner into the works. Take a good trade. Don't overforce for that kill. Because as you were saying, Razork's not there to help him. Just chill out a little bit. It was going well.
Going on blue side here for Fnatic. What have we learned so far about both teams? Because I felt like coming into today, I was expecting a really close 50-50 series. We've talked about Fnatic. Are we satisfied with what we've seen from KC so far?
Well, I loved how Yike played. He was everywhere he needed to be in that early game, and I think that's a huge factor which Fnatic are going to be hard-pressed to deal with in the series.
Yeah, and I wonder what kind of direction you take here for Razork, because you now play the skirmisher versus skirmish jungle matchup, the Wukong versus the Pantheon. Didn't really work in your favor. I felt like Yike had a better read on the map. So I wonder if now you go back into these kind of engaged, kind of supportive champion, the Poppy, Sejuani, Maokai come to mind. Maybe this is a draft shift you choose to do going into game 2, or you commit to the bit. You try to double down and say, game 1 was an off game, I got him in game 2.
I feel like with Fnatic, it's not so much a matter of preparation and plan, it's so much execution and what comes after that. But I also feel like that is something that they've been struggling for a while.
And it's definitely something which happened to them when we looked at this just before the game started in terms of this time last split. You know, Fnatic, we were talking about them back then saying communication, we were a little bit worried about it. And particularly, you know, when the plan A goes wrong, do they have a way to get back into the game? That needs to be much better here today.
Needs to be much better. And as we said, not a lot of chances to do so. 5 games, and that's it. 5 games, and you advance next week. If you fail those, you're going to go on holidays for a while. So far, KC has the upper hand, but I do not believe for a second that Fnatic cannot punch back. Let's see if they can do it in game 2. Casters, take it away.
Love the confidence, Lore. I think a lot of Fnatic players hopefully not feeling too shook. We'll see how the fans feel. Game 1 was a little bit rough. A lot of good picks for the team taken out of the equation. The jungle matchup well highlighted by the desk there, but a lot of places to look. Jace at least is out of the equation.
Yeah.
For Oscar, doesn't have to worry about that one, but he did give up Sion, probably one of the best weak
Wukong
sides.
as well. I mean, that looked pretty scary. I'd be happy seeing that gone.
To be honest, I'm super impressed. As a region, the LEC does not have the greatest history of strong Wukong performances, so it's been ramping up, and Yike certainly looking like the poster child for what the champ could do. Now, though, we enter the second pick and ban phase. Varus at the bench this time. Vi also taken out.
I'm curious, though, what the plan is for things like the Rumble, because it felt like, at least in the last game, Fnatic were attempting to have a plan for what was Jace, right? Which was to take on, rotate a whole crap ton of times, make sure that nothing funky is going to happen. Now I'm curious if they have another answer for the Rumble or even things like the Ambessa, because these have kind of been the big champions for Kana, and do they actually have an answer?
I think maybe Fnatic just want to first pick the Rumble, to be honest. You also have now Jace out of the picture, which is something Kana went for yesterday into the Rumble and looked really good on it. So I think having that blind pick on Oscar should be pretty solid.
Yeah, I think the Gwen ban also says that, because that's kind of been the go-to answer into the Rumble. And also something that Kana's picked up several times as well. So we'll have to see exactly what the answer is going to be and what this last ban is going to be. Azir, probably it, unless they're like, hey, we give Rumble and we get Azir, but no, they're just going to ban it.
Your ban well predicted, and Rumble first pick.
There it is.
Point, gentlemen. Now,
it's a crazy win rate. 23 wins, 6 losses.
It's disgusting how powerful it is. I think the best counter pick we saw to it was Varus. It just gets permabanned so much, not as a Rumble counter pick, but as like a good champ. That we're just not going to see a lot more wins into it. Although, as you mentioned, Kana was able to do it yesterday with the Jace. See if he has another pick up his sleeve. I imagine they do want to lock in top lane, but Lucian has been rising in prio, something they could go for early here.
I mean, one of the nice things about Lucian these days, as we've seen it a lot in the LCK, is you don't need to pair it up with the Nami. It just works very well as a standalone champion. We haven't seen the most success on it so far in the LEC, but it is a champion that has incredibly strong laning phase, can snowball very hard, good mobility, and has a lot of agency in the team fights.
What's the other pick going to be, though? Does Yike want to prio an early jungler? Take his time. Xin locked in another skirmish jungler. And the remaining skirmish junglers in the pool, there's not a lot left, right? Vi taken out, Xin gone, also have Wukong and Pantheon taken away too. So what is the angle here for Razork? Is it Nefiri?
I would love to see like Maokai Tristana here, to be honest. That would be really banging.
Who has ever said that sentence in the history?
I mean, just like a really nice front-to-back comp here. You could even do Skarner, Tristana.
I was going to say, like, one of the things that I think Fearless, we don't discuss in Fearless a lot, is like, Jax used to be the go-to counter pick for Xin Zhao, but you kind of now need to keep him for top lane in case things come out as well. So it's funny how some of these picks can bleed over into other aspects of the game, even though you may be holding on to it for later on. But Skarner going to be the one, and I think when you're already having a couple of short-range members at KC, Skarner going to get value in either way.
And it's going to be the Nami here. I'm a pretty big Lucian Nami hater. As I said earlier, I think he can be played with other things, and I mean that. He should be played with other things. But they have now the ability to ban out 2 bot laners, so they should be able to set up themselves for great success here with also Kalista and Draven and Nults being out.
It's also the thing I want with Illusion is something like a Maokai, to be perfectly honest. Something if you're going to play the Nami.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, we can try and play off of his strength in the mid lane, try and bully out the enemy opposition in the mid game and kind of find prio and advantages through that. But when you have the Zinzao, he just doesn't really offer that same level of support for Illusion Nami. So I agree with Jack. I would have preferred something that was a bit more self-reliant rather than needing that jungle intervention as well.
Yeah, and while I like the Lucian, I'm also a skeptic of the Lucian Nami so far as a hater.
It's a hard combination.
It's a hard combination, yeah, and I don't want to beat this meme to death, but if you're not speaking Korean, like, maybe take it down a notch, you know? That's my only point. We'll see how it manifests in game. In the meantime, though, this is an opportunity for KC to show us a lot, right? This would make them a terrifying for anyone they're going to face in the future, MKOI, G2, etc. If they can win this game and then win out the series, if they're the kind of team that can pull off a comp that is this sharp, that is this like singularly focused, it's a terrifying team to go toe-to-toe against, but it will be a tough task as we enter the second ban phase. Ambessa, Ahri, the Nico, the Elise, aggressive support options taken away to make sure that Kalisto and Targamas are comfortable on the bottom side. But the other important thing to note is that Targamas on the engaged supports has been doing really well recently, but the range supports, whether it's for him or for the team, haven't kind of hit the same.
That is true, but Vladdy and Kana here both have counter pick, which is really, really rare that you get that luxury. So this Galio could go either mid or top, to be honest, as we have seen it into the Rumble quite a few times. I feel like if I close my eyes, I don't really see Kana Rumble being a thing, but he's a man of full surprises.
As Derek said yesterday, the tank lineup that he's played is Cassante. And that's it. So it would definitely be taking a step outside his wheelhouse, but I do like it into the matchup, and I love this pairing in the bottom side for Fnatic as well. I was trying to figure out, okay, what kind of engage can you go for here? And when you've already got the Skarner who can take that step forward and kind of be that bridge for Rakan to take some of these fights and set up these fights, I think that engage is going to be great for Fnatic. Wasn't sure if they wanted to go for the MF pairing with it, but Xayah going to be fine in this bottom side as well.
Wow, and if we look in Aurora here, this is an incredibly hard draft for KC.
Zoe.
Go Zoe instead.
It's still a really hard draft.
You really need to play incredibly well on mid waves here. You want to poke them out, whittle them down, because if Fnatic get on top of them, it's a one fight for them already.
I mean, yeah, Galio could do a certain amount with the taunt. He can certainly make it harder for the Rumble and the Rise to get into melee range, the Rakan as well, but the peel that they have is so hard to reliably pull off. Xin and Galio aren't in the perfect positions. If the tidal wave is not perfect, this is a very vulnerable composition from KC.
Well, the thing is, you also have the Realm Warp to try and follow some of these plays as well, which also makes it a bit tough. So if you overextend on a river play, suddenly you've got a Rise out that's bringing things like the Skarner in on top of you, even the Rakan in on top of you. But I think for KC, this is definitely a we hit the early game hard, hope we win and snowball that into a victory, because otherwise I think just you lose so much control for Lucian and Zoe that the game becomes very difficult to play out.
Yeah, I think if KC gets ahead with this draft, they can definitely steamroll. They can generate so much control if they're first on the map, if they have better tempo. But this is a hard draft to pull off. If I'm seeing Genji play this draft, I'm very scared. But KC, they've shown a lot of inconsistencies. They're not the team that they were last split, and they're not as clutch as I would like to see them. So I'm really favoring Fnatic in this one.
Or they haven't been that team yet.
Yeah.
This is the chance. So many interviews KC talked about, whether it was Yike or Kalis talking about, hey, paying it a percentage of their full power. Perhaps an opportunity to show us what full power looks like. But for Fnatic, I'll be feeling pretty comfortable as we head into this game too. Down a game. When it comes to ease of execution, reliability, their draft certainly seems to have an edge.
And it's going to be the Electrocute here for Kalis. So this is like a really strong early laning rune for the Lucian. You do sacrifice a little bit of the scaling power, and you have to go Domination Tree, which kind of sucks. But you do have insane damage early game after Electrocute got its base damage buffed. So we'll see if he can utilize it.
Pressure to try to shut down this lane phase. Power the culling also against so many champs that want to run into this Lucian. In case 8 can be first on the objective is going to be big to track.
And he has sudden impact plus Scorch as well. Like, this is a man that's playing to win lane. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, this man is like a Season 2 Red Pot away from really full committing to killing someone in the first 2 minutes of the game. Is Yike, decent start, just charges in there, gets a bit of poke down. Battlestar not going to connect. This mid lane match will be interesting to track. Of course, Humanoid did have the edge with the Victor in the previous 1v1. And Vladdy, pretty much the only person bringing out this Zoe.
Didn't make it work last time, but it was an incredibly hard Zoe game. He was up against 3 tanks. This time it's only really the Skarner, and the rest of the targets, if he's able to land that bubble,
it should just be a clean kill.
I'm ready to see this champion come back into pro play. I think, you know, we had like the 2 years where everyone hated her, and then she disappeared. She can have another chance.
I was very glad to lose the ayayas in the chat, to be completely honest.
I'm a Zoe main.
They're back. I know they're back. If they weren't already, Rob, you've, yeah, made your own bed there, dug your own grave. Upset. Mickey still trying to vie for control here, of course, wants level 2. Level 3.
The goal of this Fnatic bot lane is survival, right? You're just playing to try to get some recon Qs, try to sustain up. Syas goes Q start as well, just try to last it. And as long as you're not bleeding in CS and you can get to that level 6 mark, that's when recon actually becomes playable into Lucian. Because pre-level 6, it's really, really difficult for recon to ever get a W onto that Lucian.
And I don't think we can really see Fnatic go for the same type of lane swaps that they went for the last game to try and avoid some of these poor matchups, because the Galio is going to be fine in the range matchup, whereas the Rumble going to struggle a lot more. So I think for Fnatic, you kind of have to stay in this, so it'll be on Razork to see if he can get down here and alleviate some of that pressure, but Yike already getting into his face and trying to spot out where he is.
I mean, this time it's actually KC that might want to look for some swaps here, because if they can mismatch and have Galio laning into the Zyra Khan while the Rumble is getting punished by the Lucian Nami, they could be really happy with it. But right now, Yike is looking to utilize this bot prio to try to punish Razork here.
Zoning him out of the jungle completely. For now, it is just a bit of vision. Stealing away half camp. A little bit of XP from Razork there, as he does at least get the little ones. Some money back in his pocket. I mean, it's a good call, right? The team that has prio, often the one that gets to choose when these swaps will come through. Upset and Mickey trying to find a brief window to capitalize as the 1v1 versus Razork. Carries on. Vladdy on the way. Has stole the Shirelias there. Picked that up off a minion, so can be quite fast. A bubble would be pretty devastating. Yike can do a lot of damage in a short burst.
Yeah, it looks like it's just going to be the crab going over to KC, but Mickey might be a bit deep here.
Battle dance.
He is Rakan. It's pretty hard to get caught out.
I didn't through the wall, though.
Bubble. Alright, he's fine.
Vladdy's going to look... Actually have to sacrifice a mid-wave here for this move, as it was Fnatic's bot lane that was able to leverage the fact that KC's bot lane moved to get level 3 first and get control back in the lane and actually help out Razork that way, so he only loses half a Krug camp and is able to get red buff and kind of back in the game.
Yeah, interesting to see what KC do when they're the one in the advantage early game, when they've got this stronger 2v2 lane. For now, it is just a little bit of jungle denial and a lot of vision set up on the bottom side. The difference, of course, in this game is Oscarinen has the favorable matchup. The Galio can be rough, but Rumble in general still just so powerful. I mentioned it before, right? The win rate is disgusting. Most of the counter picks, they don't work. Because it's not like anyone is counter picking with a Rumble here. They're always first picking.
But I swear, in the half of the games I see Rumble in LEC, he's kind of useless, no? Like, I don't know, the champion has crazy win rate, but I don't feel like it.
You're right. There's a lot of games. No, there's a lot of games where he does nothing, overheats one time, auto attacks an 80 carry 5 times, kills them, and we go, this champion looks disgusting.
I think it also depends on setup, and when you've got an equalizer with Mickey, who in theory can try and set up those fights for you, I think you're in a good spot. But if Mickey gets denied, say by Kana's ultimate coming through, or kind of forcing Fnatic to back away, I think getting value from this Rumble is going to be a little difficult. But
I mean, to be fair, you have literally CC from all 4 Fnatic members.
Yeah.
So I do think in the setup department, they are pretty chilling.
It's just the short range of their CC is the problem, right? Because I'm looking at running into a Vladdy ball, the culling from Kalist, even like just a taunt from the Galio.
Yeah, getting on top of them is that challenge that they need to try to overcome.
Yeah, Rakan is a slippery fellow, but if he always says night-night as he runs face first into a bubble, it's going to be a tough one. But mentioning something you brought up earlier, right? Kalist and Targamas playing for these short trades.
Incredible position.
Falling, flash out from Kalist, may get knocked to the wall, still has the dash. Flash from Targamas, double sums burn there, a nice look. Good window of opportunity there for Razork to come in and help them push out this wave. They were losing pretty horribly in the 2v2 trades. You saw Kalist repeatedly proccing Electrocute, excuse me. Now at least they're free to back, free to reset. They could go for a swap here, but based on your earlier point, I don't think it's in their best interest.
I think if Yike is able to sneak this dragon, it would be huge, because then you're kind of avoiding having to pay the price of these summoners being lost, because that would be the fight that I would be looking for. But I think Fnatic should be in time to contest here with Razork and Mickey on the way.
Even though it is low on mana in the mid lane, though, which may be the only deterrent. Maybe you can get a reset in and TP back in, but I think the dragon will be gone at that stage.
Level 6
Razork might look for a steal.
Bubble hits onto Mickey, goes over the wall.
This has the better of it.
1700, Razork
I mean, they're kind of just playing to buy time here because KC's bot lane really wants to match the recall of Fnatic's bot lane. So now with Mickey and Razor kind of playing gatekeepers, it means that Kalist didn't get his base off, and now he needs to stay, and now Fnatic can utilize that to ideally have better tempo for the Grubs.
And we'll see, they've already burned sums. We saw them do it in game 1. They weren't able to turn it into a lot.
Humanoid TP
here. They could be a bit more aggressive. TP down to the bottom side. Vladdy waiting over the wall. Has a setup for an excellent long-range volt, but is just heading right back to mid. KC, there's no real wave here for Fnatic to play on. So perhaps a bit over-eager on the TP. Humanoid is level 7, so he could have realm warped in.
Yeah, I think they got a bit overzealous with the fact that KC's flashes were down, so they really want
more.
Well, Kalista ended up staying while his whole team recalled.
Perhaps the right amount of zealous from a team named Fnatic. We'll find out here. Kalist, level 5, should be no way out of this dive. He accepts his fate. Zeal was the appropriate answer. A lot of enthusiasm for Blood there from the side of Fnatic. Looks like they have lost a mid-wave, and Humanoid will take a quick nap, but at least he walks away with an assist.
And it's a great ult from Humanoid, but you have to wonder, the whole of KC recalled while Kalist ended up staying alone with no flash when he knew that Humanoid was around. Pretty big mistake from him here as he loses that early game advantage that he'd slowly been building up on this Lucian.
And you'll also see the rotation that we were talking about earlier for moving up to avoid Upset and Mickey going topside. Kalist going back to catch that wave in the bottom half of the map as well. So Fnatic going to be able to punish that doubly now with objectives as well.
Set up on top side, you highlighted it. Excellent position, opening the map on the top side, ready set up to take over, and it's solo Kalist pushing out this wave. Level 6 about to come in, so kills that way, probably deletes the next one with the culling. Decent spot, but Fnatic threatening the top side in this early game, already going a bit better for them. Game 1 is Vladdy finds the bubble. Fall up there, just try and poke Razork out, but the Golem would have body blocked, and KC trying to hold on to set up around the Grubs.
That was a really small, cool thing that Razork did there, that he used his W, I think it is, right? Yeah. To aggro the blue buff so that it popped the bubble so that he couldn't get damaged by the Zoe Q. But it looks like it's actually going to be KC able to take at least one of these Grubs. But I really want to see Fnatic fight this.
I think, but the problem was Oscar in TP bottom. They took so long for Fnatic to get set up. Kalist has walked the entire way from bot lane up to the top side.
So Upset still hitting the tower. Bubble there. Nighttime for Razork, needs to back up. Kalist coming in off the side. Razork flashing over the wall, the culling there. Yike now gonna fall. 3-man knock going in from Mickey to Targamas in trouble. That's one vulnerable fish, but Targamas still living. Kalist playing through. Bubble not quite gonna connect. Nice back step from Mickey trying to get tricky with it. Kalist still standing, still auto-attacking. Upset making the feathers fly, bringing him right back in. Goes to sleep, but takes one with him. Vladdy making it a nightmare for the side of Fnatic though as they take the fight.
KC managing to hold on so well off the back of that. Fnatic were trying to dodge everywhere. Sorry, Fnatic were trying to take the fight. KC, I'm going to leave that. I fumbled the word.
You know what? It's fine.
It's been a long weekend. Okay.
I mean, it was all the contest from Razork as Humanoid was still clearing mid. You'd think that they would be the first ones on the Grubs here, but Fnatic are just too disjointed. Upset is pushing in top. Humanoid was pushing in mid or catching the wave, so they end up being super split. Humanoid can't really follow Upset. Razork is already dead. Targamas barely surviving, while Mickey does a great dodge on this bubble. It's just not enough, and this is Zoe's playing zone. She picks up the flash, she picks up the cleanse, she picks up another flash, and she is just flashing and dashing all over the place.
Oh, yeah. She's back.
I mean, Zoe wins. She's my main.
You know, good start to the fight for them, and this is something that Razork is going to have to adjust to, because you saw he didn't really get punished for just face checking the first Drake, right? Walking in, seeing if he could get a steal, maybe play for an exit kill. This time around, very much so. The ult going completely wide, a desperation effort to take someone with him, and a close fight, a scrappy fight, but ultimately it is KC with the Grubs, and the gold lead that Fnatic were starting to build, somewhat stymied.
Yeah, now I'm looking at jungle items, and it's a tough one seeing completed jungle item for Yike here. He looks so damn strong. Razork, after a relatively tough game 1, kind of muted. I really want to see him bounce back with better form, but it still looks like Yike has his number.
And I think this is big for Yike, right? This is a guy who has had some pretty high highs and some pretty low lows across his individual performance, but game 1, he was a monster, no doubt the MVP on that Wukong, and game 2, outpacing Razork. Exactly what you want to see for a team who, again, winning here, you're not done, you're not in MSI, you're not in finals. Next weekend's going to be tough. You need that momentum in your side.
Pushing mid now coming through, but Razork and Mickey are in behind KC, just going to exit out to the bottom of the map. And makes sense, Dragon going to be up in a few moments, and I think that's kind of where KC are hoping to just hold on to this vision control that they've already established. And this is where if you can look for bubbles over the walls, look for the opening with Kalist on the culling, you can set up nicely for the poke you need to take Fnatic out of the equation.
Yeah, mid-wave is really the ideal spot for this KC comp to try to ego, play forward. However, Humanoid does have teleport advantage onto Kana here. So if he's able to push in top, force Kana to respond, they can look to leverage that on this wave. I think trying to face check now for Fnatic would be great.
It's definitely a little tough, though. This is one of the frustrating things about Zoe, right? When she controls that Fog of War, she just pokes from such long range without having to overcommit herself. Drake deleted. Again, Callista and Yike both so powerful at this point in the game, those single item spikes. And Vladdy contesting. Instant engage, though. That's the combo. Response comes in from Kana, though. Mitigates a lot of damage. Target misses low, but the follow-up is not there. Raz with the pullback. Looking to get one. Looking to get that shutdown onto Yike. Challenge is Studio. Yike unconcerned. The feathers pull back, but they don't hit a damn thing. KC again finding the angle. A beautiful equalizer. Ain't equalizing shit. KC find the angle.
And the engage looks so good from Mickey, but there's just no follow-up. They've already kind of dispersed after giving over the Drake, and it feels like desperation that we try to go for this. Everything is so indecisive from Fnatic. They're not quite willing to actually send it on the Drake, and then they try afterwards, and it's too little too late.
And you got to say, KC took a bit of a gamble with this composition, a lot of faith in their ability to execute, and while there have been missteps from Fnatic, they're in the position now where it feels great to play this kind of composition. Once that mid tower breaks, Vladdy's going to have a field day.
Yeah, and again, it's just the fact you're able to buy so much space with the Galio ultimate in these fights is crucial. Yep. And it's kind of the thing we're hitting on, right? Because you get this insane engage coming through from Mickey, but Kana immediately with the ultimate over the top actually nullifies a lot of the equalizer damage that is coming through. And then the short range on Fnatic means they're not really in a position to follow up. They're able to turn onto Humanoid on the top side. The ultimate from Callista is doing a ton of work onto upset. It just makes it really difficult for the damage dealers of Fnatic to actually get in on top of what was a really good engage from Mickey.
And it reminds me of that mid-fight, game one, where Yike goes all in. He's a fed Wukong. He's in a good position. He gets a good engage, but there's no one there to do damage, and it's the same story here for Fnatic. You highlighted upset Humanoid did nothing in that fight. They couldn't get in position. They couldn't get in range. Now, once they have a few more items under their belt, it'll get easier, but I don't think KC are going to give them that kind of time.
Yeah, especially when you already have 2 Drakes on the board. It's just such an easy win comp to play for Drake Soul here. And Cloud Soul on Lucian Nami makes that poke so much harder to play around.
Glad he connected the bubble. Let's check the Zoe damage. How's it looking? Pretty good.
Not that high, to be honest. I mean,
you know, it's only level 10. Need a bit more time. A few more items. Definitely not release Zoe amounts of damage.
But it was also because the bubble already wore off because he had Mertred, so that's why. Yeah. If he didn't have Mertred, we'd be happy to see.
Thanks. Appreciate you gassing me up on my enthusiasm for Zoe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, then it would have been like, oof, you know.
Maximum dopamine gaming.
Yeah.
All right, KC. The catch here. Razork is all on his lonesome. Bubble from a mile away. He's stuck in the wall. Probably just a spectator bug. No, he lives there now. 2-man ulti. It's not going to do anything. KC find another pick.
Great timing on it as well. They'd interrupt Mickey's reset for the Rift Herald that's about to spawn. So like, great, we've just got numbers advantage on the map. They find Razork out on his own, and the bubble from Vladdy connects perfectly to set that up.
Razork is just having a rough game here, getting caught out back to back. Not really able to find his footing. There's great bubbles from Vladdy, but Fnatic just don't look in sync. And Mickey tries now to clear wards on his own. No flash.
Waiting for Now to go back to. Oscar on the way in. We'll be able to bail him out. A ward does go down, but
now you can't really contest the Herald, because now my support is 300 HP. When Skarner finally revived, it's back into play. It's just mistake after mistake after mistake from Fnatic.
And this is not a day where you can afford to make mistakes like this. It's a team that has gone back to the drawing board before multiple times since it became a team at the start of the year and come back stronger. But it doesn't feel like that's the case here. Even if the draft is solid, the player's not quite on the same page. And this is the thing is, Skarner's a strong champion, but at this kind of deficit, it's so hard to find that target.
Yeah. And he's playing against slippery champions as well, right? In the Zoe, in the Lucian, even the Xin Zhao and Galio have a lot of mobility as well. So it's not an easy Skarner game to play by any means. But if we relax a little bit and take stock of the game, it's only a 2k gold lead for KC. I think this third Drake coming up will really be the nail-biter here. If Fnatic can get it, I think they can be back in the game. If KC get it, however, and they get a good fight going, that's where the really snowball starts rolling.
Definitely does, especially when you've got the Herald in your back pocket too. See if they want to use it mid or in side lane.
I also just like the lane assignments from KC at the moment as well. Having kind of down on this bottom side at the moment means that he's immediately able to be of value in these fights if Mickey goes for some sort of snap engage like we just saw in the last one. Whereas you're kind of happy for Vladdy to come in and have a position where he's able to deal damage over a wall and use these long range abilities. So I think KC just set up nicely on the map, but Resets Fnatic have come through and Vladdy's still on that top side of the map. So looks like Fnatic at least numbers advantage down towards this river.
You highlighted this fight crucial. Gold lead not insurmountable. KC in a much more comfortable position. Can afford to get aggressive as you see Kalist there. Tidal Wave knockup does connect onto Upset. Will he be forced to ulti here? Yike dropping the Herald. Perhaps this is a way out. Wants to break open mid lane tower. Razork off to the side with Upset's health bar blinking. I don't think they can afford to start a fight realistically. KC happy to just take the objective as the taunt on the side will clip Humanoid. Followed up by the sleep. The damage coming in now as well, and down goes Humanoid. And Drake fight not going to be crucial because there's not going to be a fight.
It's a good engage by Mickey again onto Kalist. They get his flash, but in return, Upset is chunked to half. They lose control over mid. Humanoid doesn't respect it. He ends up falling down. And his third dragon over to KC. And the game is just slowly slipping out of Fnatic's hands as KC look more and more in control.
Yeah, and again, it was just the fact that you had no vision on that bottom side jungle for Fnatic. Meant that Kano was just able to walk towards mid. He just caught Humanoid because he didn't realize that the Galio was in behind him. Fnatic now going to try and trade for the top side of the map, but Jack's right, like this game is just slipping through their fingers, and every time Fnatic seems to pull the trigger, it just slips even further from their grasp.
And really the Zoe here is just going to continue to be a bigger and bigger problem. The Galio as well. The range they have to find these picks, to find these angles is very lucky that that one doesn't connect. Tower barely not going to fall though. One more melee minion, you can do it. It's your time to shine, Sheep.
Get him!
Oh god, you don't do any damage, bro. That's embarrassing.
Look, he's doing his best, okay?
that was his chance, there's nothing left
the
on that
dude is like
bar.
35 seconds old, okay?
Yeah,
come on.
All right, fair. That's true. It's a lot of expectations to put on someone that young. But this is a difficult game. You highlighted it. I think it will take Fnatic with a creative, maybe a fast play, setting up in a brush, catching someone on KC unaware. Because once you've got the lane prio and the vision, playing Zoe starts to feel like a walk in the park.
And it's interesting to see again KC kind of taking this much slower pace of game even when they get these leads, because we saw the same yesterday where game 1 and 2 was a little ropey, but 3, 4 they just locked in, played a very slow, very cognizant game of how we want to step on the map, how the macro wanted to play it, and just not giving opportunities to the enemy to come back.
And I mean, we saw it yesterday in the broadcast as well, highlighted in the voice comms, like talking mid-game about how they weren't on the same page, but the issues that plagued them yesterday do not seem to be present at all.
I think Fnatic need to reassess their win conditions because they keep trying to group on mid lane. But this is Lucian Nami's perfect zone. This is where they want to fight, where they want to poke you out. I really want to see them utilize this Rise and Rumble on the side to try to make picks happen around the map. Because if you just keep grouping on mid, unless Kalist ints, it's never going to work.
It's true. The question I'll ask that we brought up last game is does it get better, right? If we have 3 items on Upset, is that enough? 3 items on Rise, is that enough? Or do they even realistically have the same opportunity they did in the previous game to kind of just stall out?
And the problem is in 3 minutes, you got to fight.
It's true.
Because if you give over that soul, I think any sort of pick becomes near impossible. Any fight becomes incredibly difficult to get on top of them. Everything just, like, Cloud Soul is one of the most... It's not so underrated anymore. It used to be incredibly underrated, but it just makes it so difficult to actually stick to people and get away from people to really do anything. Movement speed is so OP in this game.
Sleep on the Humanoid. I don't even know how he lost most of that HP. I don't know, it wasn't from the sleep, but getting chunked out.
But again, you can see them just grouping on mid here, rather than trying to... I'd love to see Humanoid like fog to a side. Maybe they're not able to actually kill the Galio, but they can chunk him down, get a deep push that way. I just think this Rise is not really doing anything around mid.
Looks like it's going to follow through on your particular plan of action, as you can see here how hard it is for Fnatic to approach, how hard it is for them to get mid lane control. Easy for Yike to just start up this Otacon. Close and Targamas have to be careful not to overstay. And Mickey's going to try to make the play happen. Flash, forward, flash response from Targamas. Nice tidal wave into the choke. Chain CC's there, and it might just be Razork falling. Using the ulti now, catching out Yike. Perhaps a moment where they can turn it back, but he uses an ulti of his own, and Kalist finds the kill. Root connects, but not the damage. Fnatic running.
Great patience from Targamas on the wave, waiting until Fnatic could actually come into that choke point so they can find the pick that they want to net KC. They just fall back to the Otacon once more.
We can just see it's so difficult to try to catch out this Lucian Nami, even with the Rise ult. They're not able to actually get on top of them. And Fnatic are kind of bashing their head against the wall repeatedly, trying to do the same play over and over again. And it's just not going to work.
And they're just outranged. KC just don't need to go into the short-range champions, respecting, saving their cooldowns for that long-range engage. But we'll see Fnatic down some flashes. It's a similar story for KC, but the sleep connects on upset. That means the cleanse is already gone. Decent chunk of the health bar as well. Oscar in on the flank. 3K. Great ulti. Kana not in the area quite yet. He's not ulting the team, which means the rest of KC is zoned away. The steal now coming in again. The Soul Leaders and the LEC playoffs keep taking these objectives. Kana gets a kill, but he loses the objective, and now it's Humanoid sprinting. Phase rush procced. Running forward. Mickey trying to use him as a highway to get into the fight. Nice taunt coming in from Kana. Wants to turn the fight back. Mickey backstepping as well. KC will get the retreat, but they lose the objective in a 1-for-1 trade.
And it's the Otacon for Fnatic that is the real prize here, as they're kind of able to get away with murder, getting that when they didn't even have their jungler up. But still, you can see how hard it is for them to actually get on top of KC, as they just get kited again and again and again. But 20 seconds until Cloud Soul here.
The crucial fight, TP used. They know they need to fight for Prio here. The battle over mid lane is where it starts. Bot wave probably pushing in favor of Fnatic,
so
but
much damage.
This is the problem. And so you get used to the slide and glide of Lucian, but just the poke of the culling before a fight is so tough to deal with.
And I was going to say, maybe your one opportunity here is Fnatic is a flash ult on towards Vladdy from Razork, but he's been taking the half health because Vladdy doesn't have that flash, but he's just playing so far away. I don't think Fnatic have a chance.
Yikes, so powerful as well. Razork getting chunked out. Taunt onto Humanoid now, but they don't need to follow. The discipline from KC in these fights is phenomenal. They finally caught Kana, but no one else is in range, and Vladdy just continues to land the paddle stars.
It just looks impossible for Fnatic as they can't enter.
They don't have any HP on their engaged threats. They're dead now. Vladdy, again, cannot miss.
And it's a poke masterclass from KC as they're just playing so disciplined, as you said, Dracos. It's just diligence and discipline at work here that leads them to the Cloud Soul, and it kind of feels like the game.
I mean, this is exactly what you want to see from KC. We've talked so much about how good they can be as a team fighting team when they lose games as often, because that's not a position in the game that they get to, but they're disciplined. They see a little engaged, they just wait, they take their time.
And this is a 2,000 gold lead as they're on to Oscar now.
Taunt goes in. Oscar caught out there. McHale's to buy him a bit more space, but it's not a lot. Knockback. He will be able to escape.
They're not able to kill him, but I have never seen a 2,000 gold lead that looks this suffocating. Fnatic cannot get control anywhere. They can never enter. It looks unplayable.
And I mean, it's because the 600 gold lead is there for Oscar in him, but it basically means nothing in the grand scheme of things, because all of his damage is just getting nullified the second kind of ults, and KC aren't even giving them an opportunity to try and engage to find good equalizer opportunities. So from KC's side, they're more than happy to continue this, as Razork going to get bubbled, take some love taps, and KC will disappear into Fog of War again.
And I do want to say what an incredible redemption game from Vladdy. After a really tough Zoe performance against MKOI in that game 5, he's really showing that he has incredible expertise of this champion. It was just a tough draft to pull off last time.
Was feeling confident, Realm Warp in, and they just walk it out. Oh my gosh.
But this is exactly how you want to try and play this. Is just continue to keep Fnatic on their side of the map, so you can just do whatever the hell you want. And now you got Baron in 15 seconds. Oscar Innen has to go back. He's got no TP, so setup is going to be there for KC around the objective, and it's just obnoxious as Fnatic to try and get anywhere.
And the one upside that Fnatic has is that KC's comp does do Nash pretty damn slowly.
It's true, yeah.
So it is hard for KC to progress the game, but they can kind of just have the Galio tank it forever and then just poke them out when they try to enter.
I think it's just the fact that Kalist can keep pushing and poking with this ultimate means it's really difficult for them to hold on to these outer turrets, though, because once you can push them in far enough, you're just going to get to rotate between those tier 2 towers on Fnatic's side, and if you ever try and engage on anyone in that mid lane, it's great kind of going to be able to come in with an ultimate and keep them completely safe. So it just becomes very difficult for Fnatic to hold on to these tier 2s as soon as Kalist has that ultimate back up.
And I mean, the Dragons have been coming quick, because we're 4 minutes away, excuse me, from an Elder. KC continued to try to control vision here. The setup, the poke from Vladdy, only getting more lethal. It's not like anyone can really afford to take a break in their damage items to pick up MR here. Upset and Humanoid. Smirk treads, but not much else.
Mickey has a crazy flank here. This could be it.
Vladdy. Humanoid stepping up,
keeping behind.
taking his time. Mickey ready to find the angle. 2-man engage, fall from upset, trying to get involved, but Yank immediately going to knock him back. Oscar in on the backside, trying to catch Vladdy. That's going to be one sleepy rumble. Razork manages to catch him, but it doesn't look like Yank is concerned whatsoever. KC are just more powerful. Dancing on Fnatic.
The circles are just too powerful for KC, and it's a Venn diagram of destruction for Fnatic.
And it's such a great flank from Mickey. He's able to get on top of all of them, but it's the Galio ults that keep coming in to deny the follow-up from Fnatic. And this has to feel like that was the last hope Fnatic had as KC pick up the Nashor and are gonna explode the gold lead to 7,000.
This is massive. What a clean game from KC, right? This is the clean game they needed to have with this composition, but they've remained diligent. KC, like Fnatic, have been a team that when they get these leads, they get a little sloppy. They get caught out here or there, but in this game, picture perfect. Vision first, not letting anyone be risky, playing at range as much as they can, and the one-time Fnatic finally, or the second-time Fnatic finally trying to find engage, it once again does not work out.
And this was the patience, this was the communication, the coordination that we wanted to see coming through from the KC side to kind of be like, yes, they are one of our top teams, but there was a lot of doubts coming through from the regular split. Their early game did not look good. Their mid games they could still bring back through team fighting, but this KC is dangerous and they're proving it.
Certainly are. Neither of these champions want to tank this. Razork is not tanky in the context of this game. There's not even any armor pen on Kalista. It does not matter. Yek now following up. That is one dead jungler.
I didn't know Kalista was half playing Trundle in this game as well, ripping through every tank that steps up. KC now looking to crack up the base as well.
Gold lead like this, composition like this, it's pretty impossible for Fnatic to hold. They don't have the range, they don't have the wave. If Ryze is not a control mage, he doesn't just get to walk up for free.
And Kalista can just keep dashing forward here. All they need is one more bloody bubble, and they can probably look to end as Fnatic desperately hold on.
And look, you said if Genji was playing this composition, you'd be scared. Oh, I think KC playing this composition also looking pretty damn scary. Mr. Spectre, Fnatic though, hungry for the engage. Will find Yike. Nice double knockup into the taunt. Follow up there. Man, it's just, there's too much damage. Humanoid deleted. KC stopping that engage in its tracks. Now onto the Nexus. Flash in, they're gonna take Kana. He goes golden. He'll still probably die. Bubble, he flashes. He's still living. Go away. He escapes. Not even the fountain laser is enough.
Give them something, KC. Come on.
Oscarina gonna fall. Yikes still standing. Upset's making the feathers fly, but Zoe making the game, and KC onto match point. One of their most dominant victories we have ever seen.
And what a wonderful execution of a difficult draft. They played with discipline, diligence, and incredible focus. Wow, what a KC we're seeing.
And I would love to tell you more about what Fnatic are doing, what they could have done, but few mistakes here, better execution in the early game, and that became impossible to play. We'll need to see if they have a chance to bounce back in game 3, because momentum and execution, spirit on the day, all of it's going in favor of KC thus far. As we head to a quick break, when we return, game 3.
Damn it. Hey, Dragos, you ready for the... Oh, that doesn't look good. Wait, I have a solution, but you have a break. I will be right back. Just wait.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
See? I told you we'd figure it out.
I don't think this counts.
Come on, let's go.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Wait, is he switching lanes?
Hey, look up at the sky, it's just a starting line. Waltzing through the storm, feel the vibe align. Radiant rebels in the silent fray. In the pulse of dawn, we embrace the day. We find harmony in mayhem, finding our own beat. Eyes ablaze, we're laser focused. We become the light. Against the lies, we'll celebrate this never-ending fray. As alive in the pulse of dawn, we find our beat when the chances take form through the noise. Hey, look down at the tide, it's our warning sign. It's time to rock the wave or get swept aside. Crash through barriers, our destinies untied. We find harmony in mayhem, finding our own beat. Eyes ablaze, we're laser focused. We become the light. We become the light. Against the lies, we'll celebrate this never-ending fray. As alive in the pulse of dawn, we find our beat when the chances take form through the noise. Hey, look up at the sky, it's just a starting line. Hey, look up at the sky, it's just a starting line. Radiant rebels in the silent fray. In the pulse of dawn, we embrace the day. We find harmony in mayhem, finding our own beat. Eyes ablaze, we're laser
Ghana is shitting his pants, by the way. That's good. His laning phase was disgusting. This guy is not feeling it today.
Coming in again, the Soul Leaders and the LEC playoffs keep taking these objectives. Connie gets a kill, finding the angle, beautiful equalizer, 8 equalizer, shit, KC.
I'm fine, I'm fine. Say a flash, okay? Say a flash, say a flash. Look, run, help me. Don't flash, okay?
You can go on me.
They're mega desperate.
Go nice.
I will catch this mid.
Apples, I would love to have a conversation about the Zoe that you picked this time around, how it fits into the draft specifically, considering it didn't necessarily go that well last time you guys picked it.
I mean, the thing is with Vladi, we're always looking for new champions, and I knew from the past, even on natives, he was a very good Zoe. But I told him we can't pick it unless you spam it in solo queue, till then it's banned. And last week, honestly, he had it ready. It just wasn't the best in the draft. Because yes, scaling was fine, but we needed like 5 items. But today it's actually good, because it's good into Rise, and we outrange, and they only technically have 1 tank, which is Skarner, barely. So Vladi was like, I think I could go Zoe, and I said, okay, then lock Zoe and drop a bomb, you know, so.
All right, so well, thanks so much for the insight, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I mean, as a wise Twitch shadow once said, I hope Zoe wins. I'm a Zoe main, and I really want her to win. And other copy pastors like that. So, KC, very, very confident in this pick. Why? They talked about it in the interview there, but there are a couple of changes I want to talk about with this champion, which makes this champion a little bit stronger than it once was. It's not really actually to do with this stuff on the screen. This is the items and the runes. This hasn't changed for a couple of years now. It's fairly bursty. You're not exactly getting anything crazy changed out of this in the last few patches. What has changed, though, is something recently to her Q, which helps her wave clear early. So I believe we have a thing just describing it below here. Yes, there's a bit of the splash damage, which has been increased. That has helped her reach a very important breakpoint. We can see it a little bit during this game. Your wave clear is so much better early. That's why it helps against the Rise, and why in that interview there they were saying, hey, actually Zoe's pretty good against the Rise, because you can contest early and start roaming onto the map, which Vladi actually did, and he got some good involvement into that early game. So clearly they found a way to make Zoe work and get into that early game and start roaming. And then Zoe just becomes the champion, which she's been before in the past. Now, a lot of people won't remember as much of the Zoe gameplay now. The last time I really remember it being meta was about 2021 or so. so. But we have a clip to show exactly what the Zoe can do when she gets involved in these fights as well. You can be a real mess of follow-up CC, of bubble into bubble as we see here, and as soon as people start panicking, using items and starting using summoner spells, she gets to use them against you. So for those of you who missed the Zoe meta, you got a small taste of it here, and it was much more successful than when Vladdy played it the last time around. He's found a way to get it involved in the early game, and once Zoe is ahead of the game, she is very, very obnoxious. I love the way that they used it here to snowball ahead of the game and play against a competition this time, which again in the interview before this they were saying didn't have a tank, and it felt like it had a lot more use. That's a quick breakdown of why Zoe might be being seen a little bit more, at least from Vladdy, and why it helped them get to 2-0 in such an important series. But that's what I've got to say about that champion. So why don't the desk, you got anything more to say about it?
So much, Naimira. Actually, it solidifies the fact that Casey's preparation coming in today has been spot on. We're not going to see Zoe, though, for the rest of the series. But, guys, I just want to rewind a bit and talk about what happened in Winter. It was the same series, one round after that, but also Casey was 2-0 up. But we know that we went to Game 5. So are we looking at that today?
I remember that series. Because I remember in Game 3, the big thing was that they started putting Oscar in on tanks, and they started playing heavily towards upset, and they kind of came back in that series, find their balance. Don't talk about Game 5, that's not relevant for this discussion. But they did put Oscar on tanks already Game 1, so maybe that is not a surefire way to come back.
All right.
Well, the thing is, I didn't really feel like they made huge draft adaptations in that sense. I feel like if we can bring up the draft right now, they had a lot of tools that they could have played towards this game, but I just felt like individual members were faltering a little bit. We had the Rumble first pick. Sure, it got answered to the Galio, but at the same time, it's a strong independent pick for the top lane, for Oscar to be set up to have great impact on, followed by the Scanner Rise. All of a sudden, the top side of the map has so much agency, and even at the top of the show, we were saying that Upset is consistently always doing really, really good, and we need other members from Fnatic to step up. But now they had a lot of agency, and they didn't, so what more can we expect from Fnatic here?
I'm the one asking questions usually, but I feel your frustration, honestly.
I'm mad.
The issue I have with today's game is the fact that I feel like I'm not seeing the same KC we saw yesterday against Heretics. They feel stronger, they feel more connected. On the side of Fnatic, it feels like the same team we saw against GX, and that is not going to be enough.
Yeah, I don't know. When I watched that game, I saw Naimira talk about those patch changes, but I didn't see that Zoe bubble had an AoE effect now, because I felt like the entire of Fnatic top side was hit by a bubble, and they were sleeping that entire game. And I really wonder, is this all you have to offer, Fnatic? We put you guys in the clear top 4. We expect more from you after the regular season. Is this all you have to show us? I really doesn't hope that, because I really want to see more.
I mean, that's the thing, but hitting this point, again, we've talked about this, the stress around these situations, the fact that lower bracket run has been exhausting already, that they're on the verge of getting eliminated. In times like this, I would expect players at the caliber of Fnatic to show up, to not collapse under pressure, to be able to show more, but I haven't seen enough in game.
I've seen it for certain members, but again, to reiterate, I really want to see Razork and Humanoid do just a little bit more, because now we're going into Game 3. I still feel like there's plenty of power plays, especially with Fnatic on blue side. They can still secure this sort of early game advantages, but we need to see more from them, because they are the catalyst, at least for Upset and making the bot lane, to get them through the game into mid game so that they can unleash the impact that we always see them to have.
And I will say, as one of the only players in Europe that has been reverse swept by Razork and Humanoid, for my own honor, I want to see you guys do it again, so I am not alone on that list.
Well, let me ask you guys, you've been in these situations as pro players, coming back to the stage, led 2-0 by KC. What do you tell yourself, and what do you tell the rest of the team to get your things together?
It's rough. I mean, it's not really rough. It's different from player to player. For example, some people might find ways to cope with the pressure and make it a little bit easier for themselves. But right now, it's just do or die, now or never. Where pretty much your back's against the wall. You're 0-2. If you lose one more, you go home. Sure, the pain is over and all of this. But at the same time, with the aspirations that you have from Fnatic, now you're like back against the wall. Nothing worse can happen from this point on.
Yeah, for me, it's like Fnatic. You guys got to go back to basics. You guys are not a bad team. You guys know how to play the game. You don't have to overcomplicate things. I think the worst thing they can do right now is to kind of lose their mind and draft a comp they're not comfortable on in. Because that is how you're going to crumble in Game 3. I want to see Fnatic draft towards their strengths and go back to what works.
We are going to be doing the drafts here at the desk. Naimira joining us.
I got hit by a bubble.
Yeah, hit by a bubble. Thank you for joining us again. What do we want to see here? I want to have your point of view. Fnatic being on the blue side once again, maybe for the last time.
I think before the series, I think we wanted to see stable top lane as something that could snowball bot. I think consensus now between us is mid jungle has to be better for Fnatic. I think they've been losing this series so far through that. They need something strong. They need something that can play strongly through that jungle and that mid lane.
Eyes for me are on the Yone right now. If it goes on through here, now you could first pick the Yone and then look for the Sejuani on 2-3 for humanoid. I feel like you kind of have to do it because otherwise you just give Yike and Bloody the Yone and Sejuani, and I think this is exactly what you need as Fnatic. This is the one way you can get back into the series by getting a Yone Sejuani, probably one of the strongest two mid jungles we have in the game.
And it's a great pickup as well because it pretty much secures you a 2-3 for Razork to be more on this utility side of things. There's the Maokai, there's the Sejuani, and I feel like he is this catalyst for the team, and he on these picks has the biggest impact when I think of him.
Yeah, and I don't even mind if they steal the Sejuani away, because you can still fall back to something like a Lilia too. You have options now, and it does give you that engaged potential through from that mid lane, which very few champions do in that role.
Looks like it might be they're playing with the Trundle ban, because actually it won't be, because when I saw the Trundle ban, I assumed they would actually pick a tank early to kind of take that out as a counter, but it will be the Misfortune, which is one of the strongest laning AD carries we still have in the game. Together with Nico is one of the champions I'm looking at to kind of help that bot lane really get facilitated and have a strong laning phase.
It's a great pickup, especially because they have the option of either the Leona or the Nico. They have the scaling in the bag with Azir. You pretty much don't really need to be concerned so much about it anymore. The only thing you need to keep an eye out is for the combos that you have enough engaged for the MF and Azir to function well.
A little bit worried that Fnatic haven't picked up a jungler though, if we're talking about mid-jungle being very important. Yes, the 2v2 is very strong there, but the payoff you've had for locking in the strong pick of the Ionia and then the bot lane is, okay, what happens if Razork doesn't get some choice picks now? Maokai could have been one of those champions locked alongside that Yone. What happens if you do have the Sejuani banned and maybe the Lilia afterwards?
Now for me, the two champions that I would assume to get banned is the Sejuani, as you say, and maybe the Ivern as well, because I think it's something that Razork has shown a lot of drive towards playing. But when you take out the Sejuani and you take out the Ivern, suddenly all those supportive junglers that kind of want to help facilitate your lanes are out. Because they have the Maokai, and maybe you have to go into something like a Poppy, but Poppy does not make sense into Misfortune Azir.
And then, of course, both you being top laners here as well. I'm pretty sure you're looking at this draft for the R5 for KC, thinking, well, what happens if Kana gets the counter pick on that R5 as well? We talked about the mid-jungle, but that is still that looming knife in the dark. It hasn't necessarily been top lane winning the game so far, but that could be really deadly here.
Fnatic has already made their homework, because in the first two you already see the Ambessa and the Gwen ban. Right now you have the option to ban 2 more top laners, but they did opt for the Leona because, again, they do need to take out the engaged support. I'm looking at champions like Renekton, like Ornn, pretty much the tanky boys, because already from game 1 and 2, I guess, Jace and Rumble are out. A lot of the lane bullies in the top lane that Kana does very well on have been out, but he still has the Gnar, he still has Renekton, he has the Aatrox, correct, but I'm looking at Fnatic, and I do feel like Oscar will need to walk into one of these bad matchups, but I do wonder how they're going to use this last ban, because he will need to take an Ornn.
Yeah, what I expect here is that we're gonna see a pick from Casey, but the response from Fnatic should be something like an Ivern Cassante or Ivern Ornn. For me, this is kind of what you need to fill out your draft. Here, as the KC, you can either choose to take your top laner or the support. Countering the support is usually the more convenient option.
I would say that, but also, I mean, I think Targamas, you already see the bot lane there too. I think you pick in your support. I was wondering whether it'd be something like the Alistar, just say have a front line there, but could go for lane pressure. That's exactly what they do. Karma locked in. It's not necessarily a common pairing with the MF. This is for laning phase alone, really.
I don't hate it. I would hate it if the Maokai ends up going full AP, because I feel like now, well, it depends also on the 5 pick. If you get the Aatrox or pretty much any sort of...
Wait, no way a Fnatic gonna do the job, and it's the MF. Is this the reverse of what's there?
So yeah, that might happen, because well, put the Ornn in the bag, I guess.
Yeah, I think most people could see this coming a mile away, and now I feel like you do need some kind of supportive jungle to round out this draft, because you have that Yone that wants to fight, you have the bot lane that wants to fight, and then the Fury, I can see it with the Ornn top, kinda has that skirmish heavy potential, but then again, you don't really have that front line, the tank to walk in if your Ornn is stuck catching a side wave.
Well, that's probably why he won't be catching sideways, and I feel like he will have to overgroup and fall behind slowly. I do feel like the Naafiri makes a little bit more sense than the Ivern, because if we would have picked Ivern here, we would be looking at, 4 AP elements on the side of Fnatic, and then I think you'd just be getting outskilled by the shopkeeper. So right now, with this Ornn and the Naafiri, I feel like you have at least skirmish power.
KC, I think, overall, with the Renekton locked in, very good early lanes, very good ability to snowball. I do get a little bit worried if they throw a couple of kills to the Neferi, that can really throw some problems into the plan. Fnatic do have some very good long-range engage options now.
Yeah, for me, this Renekton is mostly against the top set of Fnatic. When you see 3 melee champions, that Renekton becomes really strong. You get a lot of value from your empowered Cold Meat in those fights, and it becomes really hard for Fnatic to contest topside if that Renekton is there with those early component items.
One player we want to keep our eyes on from each team. Would that be?
I think it has to be Canna for me from KC. That Renekton needs to get value early. If it doesn't, you are left with a single engage comp with the Maokai. The Renekton needs to get early value.
I'm looking at Razork and Vladdy.
Razork and Vladdy. Well, Razork on this side is going to have a lot of heavy lifting to do. If Fnatic wants to stay in the race, if they want to stay alive here in this series, 2-0 on the side of KC so far. Can we make it a competitive series? Casters, tell us what you think and take it away.
I mean, it's not on us. We're not making it a competitive series, but Fnatic certainly are going to competitive. They're going to try to make it. You're going to run out there, start unplugging mice and keyboards.
Just start playing better.
You play with me enough to know that's not going to happen. Here we are, match point KC. Pretty dominant in games 1 and 2. Fnatic will have to hope that there was more to the practice, more that they had cooked up and prepared here. As we get into what could be our final game of the series.
It's been incredibly locked in KC, but I do think Fnatic has a lot more going for them with this draft. They have a lot more individual skill expression in the Yone, in the Nico. I feel like all members of the team this time has real opportunities to shine individually, which I think is really Fnatic's strengths are their individuals and how good they can be.
Targamas doing all right. Respecting fake upset. Mickey in his disguise, not going to get rooted or caught out here. Battle for level 1 lane control. Upset Mickey. A lot of range to do some damage here. Try to take that control early on, but you heard it from the desk, right? Vladdy, can he weather the storm? If Humanoid can stop Humanoid from being relevant, and Razork. This pick felt a little bit odd. I think we were looking for a little bit more magic damage. You do get bits and pieces of magic damage all across the draft, but see what this Neferi does, because Yike has been outperforming in the first 2 games. And Maokai is a champion that, while not very flashy, kind of always gets the job done.
I kind of like that they went for a different approach in this draft of just picking what is best for themselves rather than trying to conform too much. It was only really Oscar that I feel like sacrificed himself to create a better draft that works in the whole picture, while the rest of the members could be quite selfish and just pick what they wanted.
Yeah, I will say the thing I'm a little unsure on is the Neferi, just because I tend to like her when she has, hey, I can play off of my lanes, get for invades, or play off of pushing lanes, look for skirmishes and try and snowball that way. But I just don't really feel like Humanoid's going to have a ton of control over mid-wave, and Oscar and won't have control over top, so you're already kind of limiting the avenues of attack that Razor can use this Neferi into, but we'll have to see if they can find successful skirmishes for him to kind of start snowballing.
Heal popped early, barrier popped as well.
It's a very volatile bot matchup here. Both sides really wanting to poke the other out. It's going to be push for the Ezreal. He stacks up that passive.
Yeah, keeping it at 5 stacks, wants to go forward. Mickey
goes for the flash,
there.
but
Yeah,
doesn't
with the
land
flash.
it. Yeah, feels quite bad. Doesn't really get anything out of it other than some decent poke. Now Yike could be looking to finish his full clear down to this bottom side, punish out this flashless Nico.
I mean, the damage follow-up from Kalista Targamas is massive. Yike can get in range. Has the phase rush as well.
Really tough laning phase from Humanoid so far. He missed so many minions first wave.
And 3 minions on the first wave already.
Didn't want to critique, but it wasn't quite Shobi that we were watching here.
Well, it's a little bit awkward when you get the Q3 and you go for the Azir and you whiff. He kind of just sits there and watches as your minion wave disappears while you try to force a trade. It's tough.
Yeah.
Q3 hits on that level 1. It's a very different game state, but for now, losing out on the push.
I mean, this matchup does really shift once Yon gets full build. Blade of the Ruin King.
Oh, I thought you meant boots too.
So that's one of the item spikes that we're looking for in this matchup, but bot lane is, I think Upset is recalling here. No, he ends up cancelling it. As KC are actually able to regain control. Upset fully out of mana, half HP here. Bit of a disaster early game so far, as Maiden and bot lane are really bleeding for Fnatic.
And it's really not what you want coming into this 3rd game. Your playoff lives are on the line, and Fnatic unfortunately just haven't really been able to step up across the course of this series thus far. And I think a lot of it has been, like as the desk was saying, not really a lot happening between the mid and jungle, and it's kind of been on upset and Mickey to hope you can have a strong early game to carry, but it just hasn't been enough against KC as they seem to be firing on all cylinders again.
And especially when you pick these champions that are, you know, you're kind of picking for yourself, for your own individual strength. If you then end up falling behind in the game, you don't have it easy to rely on team comp to fall back on.
And it's rough because Oscar is the only person on paper who's supposed to be suffering as badly as he is. Nice sidestep there in top lane on the Bellows Breath. He's just not getting anything back. His friend keeps the pressure up. But because of that mid trade, because bot lane blowing the flash, not connecting on the route, all of Fnatic is a bit in, you know, rough shape here. They're getting some resets. They're reassigning lanes. Flashback to game one, hopefully just once or twice this time around.
But KC were already reading it. Kalist opened mid so that then he could kind of just wait and see exactly where Fnatic were going to show on the map, and then start to move in. So once Oscar in and TP's the bottom side, he just moves up to the top side and is able to match immediately. So there's no real escape for Fnatic thus far.
That's a great point, Rob. I mean, it's a really good opening by Kalist, being ready for this potential swap. I mean, he's played 2 games now against Upset, and he has experienced a lot of these swaps, so he kind of knows what's happening when they end up going for that recall.
Yeah, good read on the situation. Also very early boots pick up for the M map. Oftentimes we see her step away from it, but that combined with the struts means that Kalista is that much faster back out onto the map, can open mid and still make it top in time. Humanoid now level 5. He's doing a little bit better in the trades while He's starting to run. Yike finds the lockup. Razor trying to get involved. A lot of damage on the Targus. Now it's Yike in trouble. So much damage from Razor. He's desperate to finish this kill. Targus running as well. Upset trying to finish. It looks like he might get one more barrier. The shield coming in, trying to divide. Kliss wants to get one back, but they're still living. They're still hanging on. Whip on the route. Kliss walking forward. Another auto coming in. A love tap. Finishes it off. Kliss, though, has to be careful for the dive. Upset is low, but Razork's on the way, and he can reset the tower aggro. The Darkened Dagger's about to come out, leaping in. The dogs have found their target. Upset still standing. 3 kills in a matter of seconds.
And that's exactly what Fnatic needed to start off this game number 3. Neferi getting 2 kills in the early stages. Fnatic getting their bot lane ahead. Huge success on the map for them.
And it's great to see Fnatic finally getting a victory in one of these skirmishes here, as it starts off with Razork having a level lead onto Yike, so he ends up being way stronger than him and just demolishes his HP bar here. I'm surprised myself personally at how fast this Maokai ends up going down, as Upset can continue to chase down Targamas, stacks up the passive, procs the PTA, and then a great move here from Kalist to take down Mickey, but he's left 2v1, the wave is about to crash, and they can easily dive him despite his fancy feet being able to dodge all the Ezreal Qs.
Yeah, the ability to reset tower aggro means that he can't really comfortably walk back under tower. Hopes that maybe Upset makes a mistake, eats a bit more damage than he should, but it just does not pan out. Now Fnatic sitting a bit more comfortable here. Not a massive gold lead, but definitely a nice position to be in. And a lot of the Fnatic wins, most of the Fnatic wins, I want to say, usually start with Razork getting something around this bottom lane, extending that gold lead to other parts of the map, and we'll just need to see what he can do individually, because that is one very powerful Neferi about to tick over to level 6.
And I think that's what Fnatic really needed, some hope, some life breathed back into this game. After 2 really rough games, you know that their mental was probably feeling down, and if this game started going south, it could be over for them. But now Humanoid getting some good trades on mid, kind of turning this matchup around, and overall the game looks a lot more bright for Fnatic.
Definitely does, as Yike finds himself once again in the hands of a clone. Mickey constantly changing form.
KC still have a push and control over this bottom side, though, even with the early kill going over towards Upset. So I'm going to start moving over towards Dragon and just trying to put some pressure down. But even if they really want to, could look for
some Vladdy's in base,
yeah,
though, with no TP. I feel like Fnatic should be able to punish this here if Razork runs over.
Look at the pings, the question mark pings onto Wolves. They don't have vision, but they know exactly where Razork is.
Razork is in his home here. Wolves on the Wolves.
So, I mean, excellently read by KC to find that opportunity despite not having mid-prio.
Yeah, it's also nice because it should take Yike over to level 6 as well, which he kind of desperately needs, because you see level 7 already for Razork. He's been farming up an absolute storm, plus those early 2 kills. Eclipse now complete for him, so if you end up running into Razork as Yike, I don't think it's going to be a very fun time for you at all.
I do think I have to throw some criticism at Fnatic here, as they had the mid-prio, they had a buy advantage on bot lane, and a stronger jungler, and they still give over first Drake to KC. This feels like a robbery from Yike here to be able to get that while still being so far down on this Neferi.
I think the greater fear of Fnatic for most fans right now is is the status of the series, is being down 0-2, but this is something that we have to look at if we do make it to a Game 4, because it feels like all 3 games now, they've conceded just about every early objective as Razork is stalking, lurking in the jungle.
Yes, clips completed. It's a very strong Nefiri here.
Yike. Little Alien Sapperling first will spot him out, but likely not going to be able to do much against this objective. So it does concede the blue at the very least, and Razork holding on to an almost 1,000 gold lead individually. Root not going to hit. Kalist ready to ult over the wall if necessary, but as long as Nefiri can go untargetable, it just doesn't feel like you have the angle.
Yike will be able to protect his own jungle here, but I think the fact that Fnatic has Razork to be able to fall back into this bottom side means they could keep the pressure up on the bot lane and look for potential dives, but it does mean you'll more than likely give up the Void Grubs on that top half if you continue with this bot side pressure, and it looks like that will be the call, as you can see Razork falling back in over towards the Rebel.
The one thing that does occur, though, because there is so much attention down on the bottom side of the map, is that Kana just continues to get to assert dominance in this 1v1. Keeping pressure under the wave, keeping Oscarinin locked under tower. Now we know Ornn is an inevitability, right? At a certain point, he's going to be able to contribute to team fights. There's nothing you can do about that, but you always have to keep your eye a little bit on Kana, stacking that coal, getting that gold advantage.
Yeah, especially when you run Demolish in this matchup, you're just able to continuously ignore the Ornn's damage, take the tower in front of him, and that's where a huge amount of that gold lead is coming from. Obviously, the CS advantage as well, but it's just been Kana able to continuously whack away at this turret. Now Fnatic, though, going for the reset. Looks like they are going to try and look for something around the Void Grubs, but Kana moving up here as well. KC want to contest.
Right. Razork walking in, face first, really just not afraid, but with Kana on the way, he may need to be a little bit cautious. Second Dark-Hidden Dagger's charge, going to burn down at least one grub.
I really want to see Fnatic fight this. They have either advantage on Nefiri and the level
They really
lead.
just don't want to fight. I guess they're afraid of the Maokai, the potential combo. They just want to give Upset that time alone in top lane. Kalist taking a decent chunk of damage. Meanwhile, Oscar also getting some plates, so willing to concede the 2-grub buff. How much is it going to cost them? Heal out of the ulti. Razork backstepping. Kana ready to get involved. Yikes ulti as well. Flash forward from Mickey. Going to catch 3. Decent damage. Fall back ult across the top, but it can't quite finish the kill. Now it's Oscar getting involved, and Razork looking for a couple of resets. Vladdy trying to find the angle on the ult, and he gets him. Sends the dog packing. Vladdy finds that it's on Humanoid now. Q3 going to connect on the 1. Looking for a little bit more damage, but it's a 3v1. There's nothing he can do. Triple kill for Kalist.
And KC punish Fnatic completely as they get the grubs, they ace them, and they take the full fight. Fnatic are caught disjointed again. They want to hit top tower, they want to hit bot tower, they want to do everything at once. While KC, they go for one play at the same time. They send them all towards top. And even with Oscar TPing in, it's too little too late. Upset already taken down to 100 HP. Mickey already dead by the time Humanoid and Oscar are there. And then Vladdy, with a beautiful shuffle, cleans up the fight.
Yeah, it's just a disaster for Fnatic. Even Mickey flashing forward to try and get onto Kalist and Targamas, but there's just no follow-up, and it feels like that so many times we've said this about Fnatic's team fights is good ultimate from Mickey or good setup from Fnatic, but the damage dealers were not in a position to really make anything happen.
And I think it's frustrating to watch this Fnatic lineup that has been so good, right? Yes, they've been plagued by a bit of inconsistency here. Yes, it starts to feel like they are cursed against G2, but in every other situation, it feels like this is the team that you can rely on to perform at their best in the majority of situations, who are seeing so many of those iconic Fnatic mistakes, the things that have held them back, manifest in a single series, and you just have to hope that the players can hold on, that the mental can stay strong, because they're not out of this yet. It's one bad fight. Razork is still a powerhouse. There's still ways back into this.
It feels like it's just these micro mistakes of indecision, hesitance that are costing them, doubt that is creeping into their gameplay. And now Upset can't even touch the mid wave here, as Kalist has the BT finished, and that's when this matchup really swings in favor of DMF, as she can just tank up all that poke and lifesteal back up. And this looks like a second Drake going to the side of KC.
It's just the amount of control that you're offering with Yike on the Maokai as well when you're in a position like this. Kalista has mid push. Cool, we can just play for these choke points. And look at the confidence Targamas is playing with, right? He's just in Razork's face saying, if you try anything, I've got a Maokai in behind me, I've got a mid lane, or my AD character come across from here.
Nice from Humanoid. Clean follow-up. Excellent buffer on the Q3, and it's going to earn him a kill. Now instantly the follow going in from Razork, but has he gotten a little bit over-eager? Targamas health bar blinking. Clipped on the way in. It should just be Razork dead. Dashes out, but gets taken down. A good pick comes in from Humanoid, but Razork getting a little bit over-eager in the moment as
The ulti comes out to try to stop the base.
It tries to find Humanoid there, but doesn't quite catch him. But it's a great individual play from Humanoid, followed up by a little bit of overzealousness from Razork, which feels like a big shame. Because if you're able to just get that pick, get that Drake, you're finally on the board objective-wise. But again, it's another objective going for the side of KC.
And especially when your only counterplay is, hey, we've got some gold on towards our Ornn who's pushing in topside. It's not really the win that you're hoping for, but maybe getting caught.
I thought it was a clone, but that is the real Nico. Walking face first into Renekton.
Great pick by Mickey.
That'll do nicely, especially giving that kill over to Humanoid. And he's reached full build, as you were saying, so he's going to be very happy. But just a great play from Humanoid here, stacking up the Q3, immediately able to get through and manages it to, with the Emperor's Divide, to get the timing over the wall and finishes off. But Razork here just going way too deep to try and pick off Targamas, and it was unnecessary. You'd already kind of got the win on the bottom side. Just try and disengage from that point, but ends up being KC getting one back.
Good that KC are able to get that return kill, but Humanoid will be a tough problem to manage. Again, the good news is with almost a 1K gold lead for Kana, Yike, there's so much point and click CC that it'll be pretty tough for Humanoid to run completely amok in a fight.
Never falter.
I do think playing on that side lane, leveraging the split push threat, is a great win con for Fnatic now. I think it's hard to try to punish Kalista on mid waves. It's just 1,000 gold ahead of Upset. So leave this Ezreal alone. Let him just clear waves with Q. Let him do his thing. And then play hard for Humanoid. Which I feel like it's what I wanted from them last game that they weren't able to do. I would love to see it this game.
Need to leverage the power of some of these individual picks. You talked about Oscar taking the short straw so everyone else could play what was comfortable, what felt good. But the team play hasn't felt good, hasn't felt coordinated. But perhaps the side lane offers a way in, and certainly getting this Herald uncontested is an excellent start on this mid game where they are at a bit of a gold deficit.
Using the fact that Humanoid had the TP advantage over kind of the bot side to set that one up, but now you can kind of see Humanoid unsure as to where KC are on the map, so he has to back away from that bot lane turret, and KC look like they're going to set their eyes on that. And it looks like Fnatic could be able to trade that for the top turret as well, but we'll see.
Humanoid needs to be very careful
Wants
here,
to clear the way.
Maybe he can
still
kill
stepping
Kana before they
forward.
come.
Ulti and TP out as well. Snaps back, does not have Q3 ready to go. Yikes, ult on the way in. Perfectly ranged out to find that pick. Humanoid going to go down. Gold over to Vladdy. Oscar's going to get a little bit of money back. A wave, but even if he finishes the tower, this is still a great deal for KC.
And you were talking about kind of the classic Fnatic mistakes going back to bite them. There's one as well, just overextending the side lane for Humanoid. Now they will get mid turret, at least off the back of the Herald, and also get that top tower, but Humanoid just didn't need to die in the encounter.
Yeah, it's a good, still a good trade up for Fnatic as long as they can defend this tier 2. And I think with the TP of Oscar they can. But you have to feel that if Humanoid just backed off and they were able to just catch these waves, now push out bot side, the game looks so much cleaner, so much easier to play. But it's just constantly something goes wrong for them.
Well, and Humanoid giveth and Humanoid taketh away. It's the TP advantage that allowed them to get the Herald that ultimately made that play still okay in the end. But again, it could have been better. A little bit safer, a little bit more cautious, and would have been able to walk away. Fnatic could be in a much more even position. The gold lead has shrank, all things considered, but it still feels like it's KC who are destined to get first setup. They're just stronger on that mid push for the most part, and I mean, Hextech, you talked about how good Cloud is. Hextech also feels pretty great.
Hextech is not underrated. Hextech is just, everybody knows how good Hextech is.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And again, this is a comp that is, I think, much easier to execute. Cut and dry. This is the most standard, other than the Karma. You could have seen this any week, any day, in any region, this kind of composition.
It's pretty crazy that this is game 3 Fearless that they got all these.
This is actually true. Game 3 Malkine is here, okay. Razork untargetable for a moment. Vladdy now on the chase. Forced to flash, dash, try to make it out. Yike finds a little bit of lockup onto Upset. Qs are connecting. Red buff making this painful. And again, Yike pretty squishy. Phase rush, but no aftershock as Humanoid just continues to pressure on side.
This is chasing. Gets the TP out. But he got the bot tower. They did have to burn Razork's flash, which will be down now for this key Drake fight. Overall, Humanoid is continuously building his individual lead.
You do have to be careful here as Fnatic though. No TP in Oscar Rinnan, no TP in Humanoid, and Kana can move down to this Dragon fight if they want to. So I think Oscar needs to get some sort of reset on this top half just to make sure he's actually going to be in a position to fight if Fnatic want to go for it.
Yeah, this TP advantage makes this Drake contest
a lot tougher as Ornn also can't get pushed, so he kind of needs to just drop away, be willing to drop that top tower.
Hexgate over.
This is very aggressive from Vladdy here.
Vladdy trying to scoop. Gets a quick flash out of Mickey.
Oh, and Vladdy is just getting flash after flash. First able to get Razorix, and now Mickey as well. Putting so much pressure in Fnatic lineup.
And look at Oscar in, he has to reset now to try and walk out. Kana just sticks around, gets the tower now. He's going to reset and be able to TP into this engagement as KC need him.
Fnatic lead the lamp poke here. So crucial. The Drake is already taken down fast.
KC body blocking the attempts to get in. That's the Maokai ultimate zoning the entirety of Fnatic away. Mickey using the clone. Steal won't come through. Fnatic now looking for a few exit kills. Horn been blown. Ornn not going to find a single target, but Vladdy is going to get chunked out by the Ezreal ultimate. Kana now ready to get in the midst of the entire fight, but it's Targamas who's been caught. Targamas who's been isolated. Kana re-engaging, but won't get anyone. Now needs to retreat as the rest of his team is on the run. But a beautiful ult over the wall from Kalist gets a bit of chip damage back. Blinking health bars across the board, but nobody is dead yet. 5 still standing on either side. Teamfight played on the absolute edge, but it's KC who get the objective.
And this is the punishment of not having flash on your support jungle here, as Mickey can't go in, he can't find the engage that you need. Razork, he can't continue chasing. They just don't have the firepower that they need to really start a fight and get it going.
And it's important to highlight, you talked about it, Vladdy is the one burning those flashes because it could have been a Wampa Stomp for Fnatic. They could have been finding kills left and right, resets left and right, but the lack of flashes are what made that fight close. But in the end, it's the Drake to the side of KC, and they're sitting pretty.
I was just super lucky for Kana, the fact that he got this gold lead, gives him the Sterix, and that Sterix was the only thing that kept him alive at the end of that fight. So very, very close, but here we go.
Humanoid going in. Pushback is there. Flash forward. A little bit of extra shielding. Waiting out the duration. Nicely played by Vladdy. Targamas there with the shield. I don't even think he needed it. Zanya's to wait out the lifeline shield. Clever moment there. Humanoid cannot find the 1v1.
And that's going to be Atakan going to the side of KC. Actually, Fnatic look like they want to try to contest there, 4v5, but Vladdy is TPing in with the Sonias. I think this might be tough for Fnatic.
Will the confidence be rewarded? Or is this the final fight? Mickey wandering forward, Maokai ultimate, Oscarinen looking to disengage, Razork low, Otacon down, Vladdy on the chase, KC descend upon Fnatic, punishes them for even coming to watch the Otacon fall. Kalist unstoppable, Kana unconcerned, KC get everything.
Kana played the start of that incredibly well. He just sat in the bush, dodged 2 or 3 different skill shots, which meant that Fnatic thought they were safe to walk up. And Upset, we'll see it actually at the start of this. So Upset, as he comes in, ends up just getting stunned, but this is the initial play from Vladdy. Gets the knockback, goes to Golden as he tries to predict the Humanoid with the Q3, but it's a great flash away from us. Targamas there with the shield, and then the resets come through for the rest of the fight.
Yeah, and then here, like Fnatic, it just screams of desperation and emotion. They really want to try to get something, but there's nothing to get. As Kana, as you said, holds this bush beautifully, dodges the Astral W, dodges the Astral Q, and then Upset actually misclicks on the ward, walks into the bush, gets stunned, has to blow the cleanse, and the fight's just unplayable with the Maokai ult coming in. KC have the numbers advantage, they're already stronger, the poke didn't land, Humanoid, their strongest member, is not there. And KC are getting absolutely everything with 2 minutes to Soul.
And we go back to the previous fight. The difference of flash is all that mattered, but now, even if they had flashes, KC just in so good of a position. The gold lead continuing to grow. The Azir only going to get more powerful, even if the 1v1 will always be hard against the Yone. Vladdy consistently able to find these edges, and it just feels like across the board, KC as a team and as individuals are just outperforming on the day.
Mickey has no flash from Vladdy.
Sidestep from Vladdy's good, pops the Celestial opposition. Another wave coming in, and they're going to walk away. They have 3 people, but they don't want to risk it.
That's Aura. That's Aura right there.
The fact that they don't go for that play, I'm really surprised. I thought they might be able to look for it despite the Nico E missing. But they just, I think they feel like they're under so much pressure.
But it's also, as you were saying earlier, Jack, it's kind of these little moments of hesitation for Fnatic that have really come back to bite them.
Yeah.
And unfortunately there, like, they were unsure where Maokai was. Were they going to be able to turn that play around and bot? They don't commit. And now it just gives KC that space that they need to. Now a minute until Dragon. And you've got kind of pushing top, no one to answer for him. Kalist is going to be fine to open up on mid-wave safely, and Fnatic are desperately trying to get any sort of vision into River.
Flash there for Mickey. Maybe that can make the difference. Maybe they can find the engage, but Humanoid doesn't have flash. Oscar doesn't have it either. You can visualize the perfect wombo combo, but against this MF, Azir, Maokai, that trio, so hard to find the perfect fight, especially as Vladdy playing with total confidence here. Doesn't have vision in the bush. There could be 5 members of Fnatic, or 4 as he does see Humanoid, just not concerned.
And if I'm MKOI, I'm very scared of this KC because you took them down once, but this KC looks like they're playing a lot more confident on the map and look a lot more dangerous as a result.
Yeah, it's a whole different beast. The way they're holding these corridors, denying Fnatic any chance of entry. They're just choking them out. Fnatic now tried to contest through the bot side here. It's looking so difficult for them.
Fnatic pushing in, trying to gain as much space as they can. KC just retreating. They don't want to give them a good fight. Make them pull the Drake. Respect the potential for the engage.
I like the Fnatic are trying to fight for control over it though, because if they can pull this Dragon down, it opens up a flank angle for Humanoid, but Kana going to match him now.
Ulti to dry space, unstoppable now, but Oscar won't be able to hit the Ornn ulti back. Taking a decent chunk out, Razor trying to get in, Mickey flashing forward, is going to find multiple members, but again, there's just no follow-up. Humanoid is there after the ulti's already gone. It's a disaster. Fnatic continue to pull the trigger, but they just can't count to 3. They cannot do it at the same time. The opportunities slipping away left and right.
KC gets Soul, they get 3. They're gonna be able to take down the Nashor. And it looks like KC are heading straight for that 3-0 in a dominant fashion.
And it's just heartbreaking for Fnatic fans, thinking that maybe this was the Fnatic that could do it, that could start to threaten the G2s, even the KC last split, to try and lift that trophy, but it just hasn't come together for this playoffs, and now seeing a potential 3-0 that is going to sting for a team that has put so many resources in, but maybe Vladdy.
They're going to Vladdy on side, buys him a bit more space. Vladdy running, ulti going in, massive shield from Targamas. Vladdy going golden, dodging so many abilities. Kana keeping the push on the side lane, but Vladdy will finally go down. Oscar looking to follow, won't find anyone in the knockup. Kana still hitting that bot lane tier 2. Baron will not fall. Crucially, Targamas caught in the pit. Has flash, making them work for it. Kalist ready to respond. The lockup is there. They will be able to find the kill as well. Fnatic now need to turn. This has to be their Baron. This has to be their moment, but it's Yike waiting over the wall. Yike who can steal it. A 50-50. All of Fnatic's hopes and dreams on a flip.
They know he's there though. He threw that sapling over the wall, so they're more than aware.
Too. But it's a Smite King, baby. He always gets these. He has the Maokai Q flash Smite here.
Razor, a chance at redemption, goes untargetable. The ulti's still there, gets it in the pit, takes it away! Every last bit of hope denied. Humanoid will at least get 1 kill on the exit. But Fnatic gift wrap the Baron, and Yike more than happy to receive.
That looked like the moment for Fnatic. But actually, well, Humanoid might get Yike off the back. No, he will fall, but it looked like they had it. Maybe that was their window back into the game, the pick onto Vladdy, the kill onto Targamas. But it all falls apart at the last second.
Fnatic's hopes are being snuffed out one by one.
And I would love to tell you that this series was a story of both teams playing their absolute best, neck and neck, but it has just been so damn dominant for KC. Fnatic, this should have been the angle back. KC, credit to them, they're patient, they see those blinking health bars, they know they have the power of MF.
It's a great setup here from Kalist to set up Yike for success here. He makes it so difficult for Razork, as Razork has to actually leave the pit, gets flash stunned by Kana. He's in an impossible situation against this MF, and with the Hextech Soul as well, slowing them down. Now KC has Hextech Soul, Atakan, plus the Baron Nashor. This surely is all they need.
And again, if this had been a different series, we would talk about the comeback potential. 7K teams have done it before, but it has not happened in a single game. KC have gotten a lead and they have closed. They have not given Fnatic an inch back, and that continues to be the case. Yes, some missteps here. Humanoid finding some good picks, but 1 or 2 picks is just not enough to win a game like this.
It's a 7K lead against Soul, against Baron, against the KC that are firing in all cylinders, and it just feels so unattainable for Fnatic as the slow march from KC goes down the mid lane.
And I would say if Mickey has flash, that could be an avenue they could explore, but it's still going to be down for a little bit longer. I do think, though, that if they're able to hold on to inhibs here,
Said this last game as well, but oh, they're on to Kana, no flash.
Ulti in, Kana trying to get a bit more time. Upset following, backing away. Taking a long time to die. That's a lot of ultimates, but it looks like Kana will fall. No healing, so damn much! God. He's just unkillable. Cloudy, the pushback knocks him into the team, but again, it does not matter. The Azir is just ready to style. Upset running for his life. And these are the final moments of Fnatic in spring. KC complete dominance.
What's an MVP versus split champions? KC tear Fnatic asunder and march towards MKOI.
And KC want their revenge, baby. They were not happy with how the last series played out, and they're coming for MKOI, and they're gonna take it back.
All eyes on KC. They will make it to the finals. A shot at revenge, a shot at MSI. Shot to play versus G2 in our championship match. The most dominant playoff series we've seen thus far.
And the most surprising dominant one, Heretics got a game. Fnatic did not get a game. What happened?
I mean, the glow for KC is real. The form on the day might have been lacking for Fnatic, but that does not mean you can take anything away from KC. Incredible stuff.
I think there were a lot of question marks on that for KC. They'd said in interviews, we are holding off for playoffs. We're not putting too much stress and strain on ourselves. And it was waiting to see the proof in the pudding, but the proof is on your screen right now. KC look incredible as they move in to face off against MKOI.
Yeah, just desserts, most assuredly. Vote for your key player of the series, Kana, Yike, or Kalist. Those are the options. You could pick any player, to be honest. I think it'd all be valid.
They all played incredibly well today. Just their synergy together, the way they were buying space, pressuring on objectives. They were choking Fnatic out at every possible corner.
Parts out to Fnatic, not the way they wanted to finish the season. End of the day, somebody had to lose, somebody had to go home, but with more than an 0-3 to be certain. We'll see them now in summer. But again, on the KC, what a run it would be, right? Again, I think you win one split, that's impressive, but other teams have done it. Not a lot of other teams besides G2 in recent years, but it's happened. You win two. It's a brand new era of League of Legends right there.
But they still have to get through Movistar KOI, right?
That's 100% true.
Took them down already with some great prep, and I think did catch Carmine Corp out to a certain extent. So I am very curious to see what that rematch is going to look like when KC, I think, going to be a little bit more ready for things like Mirren's Galio or some of these other picks that have come through very KC-specific style.
And I think it's a situation where G2 are thrilled because they're the team that, while they won't have perfect information on who they're playing until a day before, both those teams cannot afford to underestimate the opposition. No one is going to get the chance to focus on G2 this coming weekend. They just have to prep for that match against each other.
It's giving flashbacks to last split, though. KC making the underdog run happen. We'll see if they can do it again.
I'm ready. Are we ready? Almost ready. The moments of hesitation here. We got to make sure the players are ready for the interview. We don't want to deflate from the moment. I see a wave. It's time. You've heard enough from us. Let's hear from the victorious Kana and Yike. Ginny, standing by.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Marriott Bonvoy post-game check-in with Kana and Yike. What a game against Fnatic. 3-0 series. I mean, even Heretics put up quite a bit of a fight. This is so different than the KC that we saw against MKOI. So what was the difference today, Yike?
Yeah, I mean, even against Heretics, we had some messy games, so we were really not happy with how we played, and I think everyone wants to win the split again. We don't want to be the team that just wins one split and then just loses the rest. So, yeah, we just try out a lot. We make sure that we improve more, and yeah, I think we played much better today than yesterday.
Yeah, the improvement we can see. And Kana, you're joining us here for the interview as well. We don't get to hear from you a lot, but it would be really nice to hear what your experience has been like this split with KC, because, you know, it's been like up and down a little bit and, you know, getting knocked into the lower bracket. How has it been for you?
You got it?
No.
It's just,
sorry.
how was the split for you, spring split?
How about spring split?
Yeah, this split.
Yeah, we are getting first stand? Yeah, first stand.
Or seed?
Yeah.
Okay, are you happy with the performance that you've seen from your team today?
Yeah, I like my teammates and I was happy.
Who's your favorite? Do you have a favorite teammate?
Yeah. I think I'm so mad in Vladi. I like, another team match. I mean, Yike and Carlist.
Oh, he likes all of us. He's not bloody.
Just not about.
I'm just mad bloody.
Yes,
Okay.
me too.
Really? How come you're pissed at Vladi as well?
I mean, bloody, if you guys saw what happened this game, if you heard his comms and the things he did, then you will know. But he played good otherwise. Like, it was just a little mistake at the end.
It happens, right? A little oopsie. We've seen it from you guys as well against MKOI. So when it comes to the team dynamic and when it comes to improving like so quickly, how have you guys been able to do that?
Oh, I mean, ever since I guess we lost to Koi, we've been like, I feel like, I mean, me as well, like, has been a bit like, we've been a bit lazy because we got first seed, we've been just kind of chilling, just winning everything, and then we really got reality checked by Koi, and we know that we have no second life, so we had to win all the series next, and yeah, I think we put in like a lot of more effort into all the scrims, all the talks we have, like all the meetings, and we just learned so much more.
One baby step after the other. So now MKOI is the next team that you're going up against, Kana. Are you looking forward to that?
We play versus Koi.
Huh?
Playing versus Koi too.
Yeah, against Koi?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, Koi top laner, I think he's a good player because next match I can play well, maybe, and then good team fight.
Yeah.
I think you're going to stomp him.
Yep.
Okay, I love the confidence from Yike. How has it been, though, for you to be playing with such a dominant laner like Kana that you have in your top lane? You can be like, okay, I can just leave him alone and like go to the rest of the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to play with Kana. I know I can leave him top lane. I know he's going to be winning his lane. He can just be chilling and do whatever he wants. If they camp him, then I know like I will punish the other side of the map. So yeah, it's just so easy to play with Kana, basically.
Okay,
Thank
that's
you, Kana.
good to know. For the game against MKOI, though, I mean, we've already talked about the fact that you're going to have to go up against them. Last game, we all know what happened. That's why you're here. Do you have any special grudges against them?
I mean, as a team, it's a lot of rivalry between Casey and Koi, and they beat us last time, and there was a lot of like talks after because no one believed in them. And now I guess we come in as, I mean, we should be the underdog because they beat us last time, so we have a second chance against them, and I think we should do much better. So it's going to be very exciting. I think they should be a bit nervous.
Okay, big words. Then there's G2 in the finals, and I'm assuming for you, as you mentioned earlier today, as well, like earlier in the interview as well, when you're saying we want to be one of the teams that can come into the LEC and not just win one split and then wash out, but like continuously keep winning. I'm assuming for you, there's also a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in almost all the finals in LEC, so I would hate to miss out of one of them, and also not qualifying to MSI because I also qualified to all the internationals. So it's very, very special for me to keep doing a good job, you know, and keep playing good with my team. And I know that we have what it takes, so we just have to show it.
We've seen it today, and we've seen it from your side as well, and because of that, you get Kia Player of the Series.
Ooh.
I don't know if you guys want to clap or something. Thanks.
Thank you.
That'd be really nice. Well, another one added to your tally because you have quite a few of them. But that's enough from us over here. We're going to be heading over to PGL. Kana, maybe you want to tell Vladi why you're mad at him? You want to say why you're mad?
Vladi.
Say something, Vladi?
Yeah.
He's watching right now. Vladi is watching.
He's watching on the other side.
I'm very angry. I will come to good luck.
Okay,
Good
well,
luck, Vladi.
Laura, take it away.
I love when teammates are nice to each other, especially after such a convincing victory. Vladi, thank you so much for joining us. We have a mystery to unfold here. What did you do to piss Kana off like this?
I mean, I'm not sure. I even gave him free candies yesterday before the game, so I don't really know.
Maybe the candy was bad.
I think he's just trying to rage bait.
Rage bait.
No, you're trying to rage
No,
bait.
Ungrateful.
No, for 2 weeks you're doing your stupid thing just to get into mic check, and then I think he just got mad after that.
Why? I'm literally giving content to the LEC.
Are you
Why
being
would
a
he get
drama
mad?
queen again, Vladi?
No, I'm just saying I'm giving him content.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you give us free content with your gameplay, I feel like.
Why?
Oh.
Because is that good?
You want to go into that right now?
Zeka experiment kind of stopped, no? I feel like you kind of... Who did you lose to? You lost to MKOI?
I can't.
Why?
I can't. They are banning my champs. They are banning the Yon, or they are picking it. They don't give me a good Akali or Silas angle. Like, I can't really be Zeka.
But you play Zoe. You brought
Yeah,
Zoe
but
back.
Zeka is not really a Zoe.
No, he's not. Who's a Zoe player, actually?
Showmaker.
Showmaker, yeah, Showmaker. Great.
Look
Zoe
at him, he
player.
instantly knew he's fanboying over all of them.
I mean, I bet you're watching a lot of LCK, right, for inspiration.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I mean, I want to say it showed maybe in the champions that you bring. Why was it like a good Zoe angle this week, especially after the really bad experiments that you guys have tried last week?
I mean, fun fact, I have 0 win rate with Zoe in scrims and in officials. And yeah, it happened to pick it. I think it was a very, very good angle because they are all really short range. Like they have the Rumble, the Rise, the Zaya, and I think they don't really have very hard engage, so I can just poke them for free, and that's what I did. I think it was very free.
Odo, as a new coach actually of the Rats, what would you tell your player if he has 0% win rate on a champion and he wants to pick it on stage?
Obviously, it needs to pass the eye test, and last week it didn't, you know? So I don't know how you play in scrims. Maybe you're just unlucky. Maybe it's the
last week it was bad, you think?
I mean, yeah.
I think it was not the best Zoe angle, I would say.
I mean, yeah, you guys had Zoe Pike in game 5.
Yeah, and they had Ornn. So basically, we can't.
But they had Ornn this game. No, that was game 3. My bad. But no, I think definitely even there's so many of these champions that it doesn't really, you can't really always go for the highest win rate champion. It needs to look good. It needs to feel good. And if Vladi, even though if he would come to me and say, yo, I know I suck on it in scrims, but I'm really, really feeling it this game, I would trust him. But if he would int again, I would maybe not trust him the next time. But it is especially important in these high pressure games, in best of 5s, playoffs, that when someone feels that you throw meta out the window, because at the end of the day, he's the one clicking, he's the one playing, and if he's feeling confident, then that's a big factor of why they would win a game.
Trust your players, always. Not always, though, but sometimes when you have a player
until
like
they
Vladi,
int.
for instance. Until they int, yeah, until int is proven. Vladi, something we have talked about is your preparation coming into this week. The fact that last week was something that you guys want to forget, obviously. What was different in the way you guys prepped, and how did you readjust?
I think we were just too cocky after finishing first place, and with how scrims were going, I think we were just thinking that we were the best by far and we will beat everyone. But obviously, I think we just got humbled. And obviously, I think it was our worst day ever in this split, at least. And yeah, as I said, we got humbled, and then we got to put a serious work in scrims, like better practice or how we acted in scrims and in reviews, and it paid off.
I have a question because I also went through this phase at some point where you're so excited about picking up new champions, finding inspiration from Zeka, from the LCK players, but at the same time you still have your own individual champions, your own individual preferences. How do you manage to find balance between what you feel like they're doing that is really, really good and what you should maybe be implementing yourself? Because yeah, you went through from Victor being super OP on Victor to the Zeka phase and now maybe back a little bit more to the control mage. How do you juggle all of that?
I mean, the thing is, I think one thing we do a bit bad in EU is that we don't really try stuff. And obviously when it gets to in Korea, they try a lot of stuff. Like, for example, they played set mid. And I think we just copy them. So I guess that's what I did. Right? I didn't know that Sylas or Akali or something like this are that strong in the meta right now, or you can find good angles. So after we played the first stand, and I saw Zeka playing them, and that even though he's one of the best mid laners, he makes the jumps work. I decided to try it myself, and yeah, I saw that the jumps are good.
How do you think you're doing on these new champs, and overall, how does it make you shine more as a player?
I mean, I think I'm a very good mechanical player, so jumps like Akali, Sylas, and all of this fits me well. So yeah, I just think I had to try them, and it worked. Like right now, I think they are afraid of my Sylas Akali, maybe.
Yeah, I would agree here. Odo, you had some thoughts on Vladi's performance in regular season and in the beginning of playoffs. Do you feel like today he proved himself again?
Not really.
He was flaming you, man. Like you have no idea.
Yes, because okay, so context. Regular season, by the end, I was your biggest fanboy. I was like, this guy is, giving Caps a run of his money. If he keeps playing like this, he's just going to stomp all of these noobs in playoffs and everything. And then come playoffs, I felt like it's kind of maybe what he said where everyone was cocky a little bit, things, prep fell a little bit. But yeah, it's just, after today, yeah, sure, it got a little bit better.
I mean, the thing is, you can't look at the player just for one series. Like, sure, my series was terrible 1 week ago, same for Kalis, but you can't really just say because you saw one series that he's just
That's
not
fair.
good for
No,
example.
but he was my GOAT, and now he wasn't my GOAT anymore, so I was very upset.
I think, I mean, hopefully he
But
can
it's
be
fine.
your
You,
GOAT.
you can bring it back for the next week. I'm sure of it.
I didn't today.
Not as good as the regular season, man. Come on.
Okay.
Don't.
He's going to cry, and that's going to be
He's just
your
sad for
fault.
content.
But you can get your revenge next week, actually, against MKOI once again. How is this one going to look? Because, yeah, I feel like
I mean,
they made you angry.
in our worst day, we went to 5 games. I don't think they played that well, but I still think they did good. Like, they waited for us to choke, and that's what we did, basically. But as I said, we will just do the same, be serious in our practice this week, and I'm confident that we will easily beat them because we also have a very good record against them in scrims, I would say. So, yeah, if we play just like we do in scrims and with the same confidence, I think we will beat them.
A little preview on the mid lane matchup, because for me, you have been, you know, through winter, you've been pretty much the big revelation of the split. But I also feel like, for example, Jojo was a little bit under the radar in winter, and in spring he started ramping up his performance. What do you think of this matchup walking into, next week?
I think Jojo Pune for sure stepped up way more in this split than in winter. I think he might be the best laner right now in the league, I would say. So yeah, I think it will be a good matchup, but
not good enough to beat you.
Sure.
Yeah, that's my GOAT right there.
We have been talking a lot about the lower bracket run, which is something that you had to do as well in winter, and the impact of fatigue, playing a lot of games, not having a lot of time to prep between games. How did you feel through this run so far, getting ready to peak against G2, hopefully next week?
I mean, the thing is, we also did this kind of run in last split, I think. Like, we had the lower bracket semi-final, and then we played the final after, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
So I think everyone was kind of prepared for this to happen. Like, day by day, we just have official games. So I don't think someone got tired or something.
Do you feel like you're maybe one of those teams that just, you know, once you get this sort of, when you get the ball rolling and you keep flowing through game, it's one of these things where, you know, that sort of like autopilot just keeps getting better and better, so that the way you guys, you know, just coordinate and everything?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I also think that playing lower bracket is better than going to finals directly. It's a bit cold, but still, you get
it's good.
You get to have way more official games and practice on stage, so it gives confidence. And imagine you beat like 3 teams in a row before going to finals. I think you have a lot of confidence.
You won a title like this, no?
Yeah, I did go through the, well, I technically...
It was a bit different, but yeah, you played a lot of games to get there.
The format was a little different, but exactly, we went through the lower bracket walking into the Saturday. But I do feel like, for example, back then compared to now, being in the finals actually meant something in the sense where you would see 5 drafts of the same champions being played, and you would be and you would be able to pretty much break down, you know, the patterns, the way teams draft, because you'd always have the same draft for 5 games straight. But now with Fearless, I feel like you actually get more advantage by just getting games in all the time, because you get to see more situations. Because you can't really, when you make your prep, I feel like you can't really look at, oh, what's going to happen game 3, 4, 5. Getting to experience them live, I feel like gives you a lot, this sort of ability to be able to adapt on the fly. And I feel like that's something that's happening maybe with you, because before, in winter, I felt like your games 4 and 5 were a little bit messy, but I feel like now they've been slowly getting better, because this is the sort of situation you can't really practice in scrim so much, I feel like.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I think, as you said, the team in the final don't really have a specific gameplay from the lower bracket team to review with how many champs there are. And, I mean, yeah, it's a bit of copium, though, that lower bracket is better, but I still think it's still a very good way to go to the final.
Last question, Vladi, for you. From the experience you had in winter splits, before winning, already being successful with KC, to the point you're at right now, playing for your 2nd title almost, and also your ticket for MSI, how much stronger do you feel in the league with the team overall?
I mean, as a team right now, I think everyone is very confident after this win as well, because, as I said, even in scrims, I think we almost, we win against everyone, basically. So, yeah, as I said, if we just go and play just like we did today, with confidence and with a lot of boost from our scrims as well, I think we will easily go to finals, and I think we will also beat G2.
All right, you have the confidence, I see it. I want to know what's your prediction for the games next week.
For the games next week, well, we do have I am on the hype train of K-Corp going up into MKOI because I do believe in redemption, you know, and I think in the first series I was also thinking that K-Corp was going to do well, but this guy didn't really do so well against Jojopion, so that sucked. Maybe you have a better chance next week. But for the finals, it's really, really tough. Even if I would be the biggest K-Corp fan or the biggest MKOI fan, I feel like G2 had a great performance, and any of these teams should be taking G2 to like a 5 games because, again, the top 3 or even the top 4 has just been so, you know, competitive right now with K-Corp and MKOI doing so well that I can't really make a good prediction for finals.
Whatever makes Europe better. The closer the games, the better the league. Vladi, thank you so much again for your time and reflecting on your wins and success. We'll see you next week against MKOI on Saturday. The winner books their tickets to MSI while G2 is waiting patiently in Spring Split finals that we will have on Sunday. That's all for us here. I hope you enjoyed the games. We will see you next week. Same time, same place, and until then, take care. Bye-bye.
Bloody my goal.
Get it. And if Humanoid goes down here, oh, Cedric will flash in. Q can't flash that auto, baby.
Yeah, I'm gonna high jump. I'm watching you.
I can kill him, probably.
I got him.
Look at him as well. I think he reset it.
Maybe a cheeky shock blast over the wall. Maybe see if anyone wanders a bit too far.
No way!
Kill the Sion.
Get Pantheon flash as well. With Pantheon.
Kill them both.
Kill everything.
Nice, good.
Go attack, okay? Don't go tower, I think.
Okay, just go fast.
Really good. Ghana is shitting his pants, by the way. That's good. His laning phase was disgusting. This guy is not feeling it today.
Now coming in again, the Soul Leaders and the LEC playoffs keep taking these objectives. Connie gets a kill, finding the angle, a beautiful equalizer, ain't equalizing shit. KC.
I'm fine. Sign flash, okay? Sign flash.
Wait.
Look, help me. No flash, sign, okay?
You can go on me?
Oh, they're mega desperate.
Go nice.
Oh,
I will cut this mid.
No flash. No flash.
What the f***? I think we got him.
Yeah, he's dead.
What the f***? Good job. Okay, we finish.
Go fight.
Go fight. Local lanes easier. Local lanes easier.
No flash.
Look now, Firi.
Yeah, no flash.
No W.
I'm behind them.
Well, that's an interesting way to end it.
Oh, sapling. Mega sapling. I'm the sapling king.
The perfect team fight! They take it all! In knockback, instant combo punching! What? It's Big Pop! Oh my god! Club! Everybody! You know the story, you know the legend!